After a few weeks off, the Area Cup Series returns to action for the 8th race of the season. And after the break, drivers are attacking the championship from all angles. This week, they're in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, attacking 3 more of those angles in this Scalene sim race. Welcome to Pocono. No treats, just tricks from the tricky triangle from this triple-headed thread. Welcome back to Sim TV. It's clearly been a couple of weeks. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney DeCuna, Hunter Sleppy, and Eric Wineland back for a 4-man booth in a 75-lap race at this 3-turn circuit. Finney, welcome back. Pocono, Pennsylvania. This is a fun one. High speeds, big braking zones, and shifting tonight, almost certainly. And we'll be racing this track most of this week. Should be a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely can't wait to see these guys get down to the action here. But this track can definitely be tricky and trippy for some of the drivers, especially when you look at the playoff picture, because there are spots starting to run out. We have 7 different winners this season so far, and essentially 8 spots taken up. There's only a handful of spots remaining in a very close race for those few spots. So if you're not been focusing on your championship fight now, you're definitely going to start now with only 5 rounds before the playoffs start.
And what better place to get back into the swing of things than the tricky triangle, or trippy triangle to some, Pocono Raceway. It's a very unique track, only 3 turns. You just saw there a moment ago. What turn 4? There is no turn 4. You see turn 1, that is modeled after Trenton Speedway. It's now a lake. Turn 2 is after Indianapolis, and turn 3 is after the Milwaukee Miles. So, will Jake Nichols go back-to-back? He won last week, a couple weeks ago, the most recent race. That's why he's locked into the postseason right now. We're on the race number 8 of the season, Kyle, or Eric, and we've got 7 different winners. Could we see an 8th different winner, and maybe Ryan Hartz?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past these guys in this series to pull out another one. I mean, so far in practice, we've been looking at Jake Nichols, Travis Beckner, and Ryan Hartz at the top of the board, but I'm keeping my eye on that cut line battle. I mean, Brandon Six and Greg Mitchell tied for the cut line right now into the playoffs, and that can shift with a win of someone outside that cut. That one's going to be an intense battle the rest of the season. But you mentioned it, 3 different corners of the speedway, very challenging corners. I've actually had a stock car experience at this racetrack before, and in real life, it is nothing like it is in the sim. The sim, it's nice and easy. You don't have to deal with the differences of the corners. But man, when you sit in a stock car in real life, turn 1 with the amount of G-force in that 14-degree banking, it really gets you.
So, practice is underway. Qualifying will be here shortly. This is a really big racetrack, but this next-gen, 7th-generation car poses some challenges that we'll have to deal with all night long, including that new gearbox, the 5-speed transmission versus the 4-speed we had in the Generation 6 car, Finney, and that means shifting, managing downshifts, managing upshifts, and managing the downforce in the corners. This is a challenging combination. We've seen it be exciting, but you're doing a lot more in the car than you would have done in the past. Maybe focusing less on the braking, though, because you've got that independent rear suspension and much bigger brakes than you had in seasons past.
Yeah, I was going to say, in a way, it does help these drivers a lot, because when it comes down to the shifting, it's a lot easier to do so with the sequential, getting the car in gear compared to the H pattern. But these guys are going to be shifting pretty much almost every corner, I want to say, depending on whether or not in some slipstream, which is definitely going to be a big factor for a lot of these guys heading into often some of these corners, especially turn number 1. You're going to see guys snake weaving like a snake down the front straightaway right here, heading to turn 1 like they do in IndyCar, or used to do in IndyCar when they would come here, trying to break the slipstream. So these guys are going to be shifting constantly throughout the lap, trying to make sure they can get a one-up on each other, and then also they may not be shifting depending if we come down to fuel mileage if they want to save some gas.
Fuel mileage is a very key point that can happen here at this track. I believe it did happen in season 1, but one to touch up on the points, because Cameron Earn is 13th. One to go back to him, because as the graphic says, he's currently locked in. You have to be inside the top 20 in points. He is sitting at 20th in points as we speak, with only a 3-point cushion to Brandon Bowie, and then a 6-point gap to Nate Trito. So Hearn not technically in the clear yet, because he still has to manage his stuff, and being 13th, want to make sure that don't get into any havoc out there, because we've seen time and time again that action can happen anywhere, including mayhem. And I look at the tunnel turn to be the trickiest part of this race today.
Yeah, Hunter, this one's going to be a wild one, and if it's going to be tricky, I mean, you're going to look for contact, and well, guess what? iRacing just brought out the Season 3 build, that most of the users of the service you guys have probably already updated to. And the Cup car did get one update that's going to affect these guys tonight. New damage model, a little bit of an adjustment for some braking limits, as in physically breaking something for the hood and trunk mounts. So my overall impression is it may be a little more fragile of a race car, but this thing's probably still a tank with the new damage model. But I would not be surprised to see some guys be less performant with damage than they were prior to the new build.
Well, it's always something to keep in mind. You don't want to hit anybody ever and put yourself in that position, but I think there is definitely more attention being paid to bumping into each other now because of that damage model and the changes that have been made recently, including those brake limits. So I think especially on the exits of the corner, turn 1 in particular is a pretty high velocity area, Finian, where see Garrett Grant get very close to the wall at the exit of 1. If you hit the wall here, you don't just scrape it, you pound it, and it'll be very consequential tonight to do that.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to want to be really careful, especially when you're pushing a limit in qualifying like these guys are having to do right now. And remember, also one lap qualifying for these guys at the bigger tracks. So if they don't get it right this lap, they're going to be starting from the back. And I think you just saw one mistake potentially from the 5.
Yeah, he was a little sideways there, sideways and sliding. They mentioned that tricky turn would be a tough spot, but also from real life NASCAR Cup Series racing, turn 3 turned out to be pretty tough to some of these guys. So I'd still look at the tunnel turn as a tricky portion of this lap. Garrett Grant down to 55. I don't think that'll be good enough for pole. See what Greg Mitchell can do.
Across the stripe for Greg Mitchell at a 53.835. That'll put him at the top for the time being. Michael Curhan in the 24 comes across the stripe. What'll it be for him? A 53.767. That puts him at the top. Chris Rabel across the stripe at, well, looks like he just started a lap. Ed Robertson up to 4th. Martin up to 3rd. Ricky Springer 6th. And more now as Tyler Nichols heads off into the corner. And qualifying here, guys, I think it's a pretty important place to start up front. I know their forward mobility is possible, but I just think this is going to be a track position fight. Once we get spread out, which I think is almost destined to happen. We don't typically see a lot of yellow flags here. Once we get green, we tend to go that way for a long time. So I want to start up front. I want to stay up front. I want to play conservative strategies tonight. I don't want to get on a back foot and have to fight my way forward late in this race.
Yeah, and speaking of guys jumping to the front, Ryan Hart's jumping to pole position at the moment. David Weisart up into 4th as he comes across the line. Jake Nichols across the line, 53.6, and he will jump to pole position by, wow, over a 10th over Ryan Hart's. A very solid lap for the 73, I guess, as we usually expect from his performance. Tyler Nichols is going to join them in 3rd place as the next few drivers come across the line. Trying to look who is still out there. Frankie Barroso in the 12 is coming across the line, but starting to finish out qualifying here. I don't see anyone that didn't get a lap in, that made an attempt and didn't get a lap in, so that seems to be good so far.
There saw 53.8 from Mr. All-Star himself, JT Poole, won in the Open, and then made his presence felt in the All-Star race a week ago. Almost had a shot to win, so definitely looking for some momentum on the 26 of Poole as we roll into Ben Pierce's lap.
You know whose presence I felt right there, Hunter? Ricky Bobby. So we're showing it here on the broadcast. JT has the good old Ricky Bobby in the Wonder Bread cut out behind him. Ben Pierce putting a pretty good lap here, 54.24, puts him 16th on the board. So Kyle, you talked about the fact that these races string out. I can say from first-hand experience running season 1 here at Pocono for the Cup Series and area, it did stretch out, and we had 0 cautions in that season 1 race. But season 3 was our most recent trip here, 4 cautions for 12 laps over the course of that race. So I agree with you. I expect this thing to get very single-filed out and be difficult to make up ground, and it's going to come down to my favorite thing, hit strategy. Who's going to make the right strategy call to win the race? We'll get to find that out later.
Yeah, and 4 yellows, I think probably, I'd have to guess, that those were a result of Larry Mack's cautions breeding cautions in some way, especially late in the race. The restarts and starts here can be pretty wild, and it's rare that you just get someone crashing on their own in the middle of a run. Drivers tend to kind of figure this place out, but Eric brings up the strategy, Finian. Long race, at least in a mileage perspective, your average speed is very high. But strategy, when you come down relative to the others around you, that's going to always play a big deal here. You're not going to lose a lap also, so it opens up some opportunities to try some things. But I think it's when you pit, not what you do when you pit, I think is the reality here tonight.
Yeah, I think that's going to be... Whoa, I see Reinhardt's get very close to the wall out of turn 3, almost has a tank slapper into the wall. Is the lap good still, though? I don't think quite. It's going to be back in 25th for him. So we got the last few stragglers across the line. Looks like Bryce Senizak is not going to be able to get a lap down. He made a mistake, so he will be starting near the back. How about Cedric Hunter? He put a lap in his second on the board in the 0-7 machine. The highest starting position for him yeah, his previous highest starting position was 13th at Bristol, so he's looking in for a pretty good race so far, and he's actually doing not too bad in the points. Very understated, is I believe right in behind Ryan Hart, so he's in 9th in the points.
Clarifying there for you, it was Ryan Swan. Ryan Hart's is still P3 on the board.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Cedric Hunter's... sorry, yes.
Ryan Swan was the one that almost tank slapped the wall over here in 3. Doug Newbigging, he is actually looking like he's going to get his first time lap here. He took a nice wide arc through turn 3. He's going to try to straighten up his exit, make that front straightaway even longer. We'll get to see what the 71 car can do for his timed lap here. 3 minutes remaining in qualifying.
And off into turn number 1. 191 miles an hour, not quite breaking the 200s that we used to see here on prior packages, but accelerating up out of turn number 1 and now down towards the tunnel turn, Finian, which turn 1 exit is a trouble spot, but this turn in particular, especially in open wheel, has been a challenging sequence of corners. A fast entry, big bump in the center of the turn. It is a formidable corner.
I was going to say, I always see Doug Newbigging catch the wall on the exit. I was going to say, I think in any car that comes to race here, it's always formidable because having a battle there is tough. Chris Seidenfeld is also in the wall, so his lap's going to be invalidated. He got a hard hit with the wall. Take a look here. This is in turn 1 or turn 2?
No, 2.
Oh,
That's the tunnel turn.
Just carry too much.
And that's part of the reason I feel like it's so difficult, because it's just so inviting. You feel like you can get on the power a little earlier than you need to, and then you don't realize you're in trouble until you're about to hit the wall.
Yeah, very similar. That turn very similar to Indianapolis, but almost doesn't feel like it whenever you're carrying so much speed going through the center of the turn, and then you just start to trail up, and then there's a wall there, and then you just smack it. And that's what happened to the 45 of Seidenfeld.
Well, here's a driver that hasn't qualified just yet, Eric Wineland. It's Connor Horn, and always a threat. He's got a victory on the season so far, and shiny green livery on the side of it this week. Here he goes down the straightaway.
I can't quite get it on my timing and scoring. Is this his warm-up, or is this...
This is his first time lap.
This is his first time lap, okay. So yeah, one and only. Remember, if the track is bigger than a mile, which obviously Pocono is, these guys only get one time lap. He was good through the tunnel turn right there, Kyle and Hunter and Finian. But turn 3, can he get it done? He's getting it nice and low to the bottom here. You see him working the wheel there in the bottom right of your picture. That was a pretty smooth exit. It's going to be a decent time for the 42 car. It's 53.87, which will put him 17th, yeah. It's not even updating for me on my timing and scoring, so I'm thinking he may have 0x'd a wall somewhere.
He did. Yeah.
Oh, boy, that's going to be a big hole to climb out of, Finian. I mentioned qualifying here. I like it. I think it's important. I don't want to start at the tail of the field in a 35-car field, and that's where Connor Horn is going to have to start here momentarily.
Yeah, I was actually trying to look back and see where he even got that 0x, and it was right on the exit of turn 1. He just kissed the wall on the exit.
Let's have a look.
You already see he entered in pretty high. He was running high up the corner and then coming on. Yeah, and then right here.
Oh, just the slightest touch. Racing gods say no bueno.
Missing the line here at Pocono is pretty tough because it's very hard to make up whatever mistake you make on such a large track. Hey, I got a question for my buddy Hunter here. Since this is home sweet home for us, do you know what turn of Indianapolis turn 2 is modeled after? Because I'm pretty sure Indianapolis is 4 turns, especially if you ask an IndyCar driver. They all play differently.
All of them.
Okay.
I think it's not modeled after a particular corner. I think it's just
a general.
Just the 90-degree low banking.
It's all about. I don't even think it's the angle. I think it's just the banking is part of the deal there. So I think that's.
You would think we would do our homework there
Bank
because
angle.
Hunter and I are the local boys to this racetrack. But
what the heck?
They're
guys?
all modeled the same.
I've ridden in here in a stock car, but I can't tell you. I just know it's Indianapolis, Trenton, Indianapolis, and Milwaukee.
Yep.
Well,
which is a
guys,
place I'd love to see them go back to.
I would love to see that as well. We actually seen Milwaukee being raced. I think it was back with the 3-wide racing series, back with the what was the ARCA car. That was a fun race to watch, actually. But race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all area broadcasts commercial free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat and earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. That's twitch.tv/Area iRacing. In just a minute, we'll have our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup as well. We'll get there in just a moment as we head down to the racetrack and cars are getting lined up for the start of this race. It is a beautiful simulated day here. I was just at the virtual Sonoma Raceway a couple minutes ago doing some Spec Miata racing, but I'm excited to be back here at I was going to say an oval, but it's not. Or for some slipping and sliding around here on the high-powered cars. Let's roll through our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. Race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. All right, time to roll through our starting lineup. Here it is, Roasted Gems Coffee starting grid. Jake Nichols, recent race winner, starts on the pole alongside Cedric Hunter. What a qualifying effort by that 07 Ford Mustang. He's on the first row.
Yeah, moving on back to row number 2. It's going to be a solid row number 2. Ryan Hart starting on the inside in 3rd place. Next to him, James Scully rolling off in 4th in the 7 machine.
Row 3, Tyler Nichols in the number 41. Michael Curhan starts 6th in the number 24.
Moving on back to row number 4, it's going to be Brandon 6th in 7th in the 66. Cameron Hearn going to be starting in 8th place in the number 4 machine.
9th place, row 5, JT Poole, the number 26, had an excellent showing in the All-Star Week last time out. We'll try to do the same here. For points tonight, Greg Mitchell starts 10th in the number 2.
Chris Ray was going to be lined up in 11th in the 29 machine. Next to him, Jacob Bell in the 77 in 12th place.
13th place, Travis Beckner in the number 28. Alongside David Weishart in the 33. He rolls off 14th.
Back in 15th, going to be Frankie Barroso rolling off in the 12 machine. Next to him, Jordan Martin in the 11th, going to be rolling off in 16th place.
17th place, Ed Robertson in the number 64. Jeremy Miller rolls off 18th in the number 30.
Moving on back to 19th, it's going to be Ricky Springer in the 51 machine on the inside. Rounding out your top 20, 21 and Delonte Ballard in 20th.
21st place in row 11, it's Rafe Slate in the number 8 Camaro. Brad Slaughter Jr. in his 83 Toyota starts 22nd.
Back in 23rd, Kazunori Shiwu on the inside in the 84. Next to him, Seth Knoll in the number 1 in 24th.
And 25th place, it's Ryan Swan in the number 67. Ben Pierce, 26th in the number 65.
Moving on back to 27, Jonathan Cogswell is rolling off in the 27 car. Next to him, Garrett Grant in 28th in the 5.
29th place, it's Connor Horn. Didn't get a qualifying lap. He will start in row number 15 alongside Douglas Newbigging in the number 71.
Michael Sturgill is rolling up in the 17 car in 31st. Next to him, it's going to be Connor Kresick in the 14 in 32nd.
33rd place, it's Bryce Senesac in the 09. Dwayne Culberson rolls off 34th in the 81. And Chris Seidenfeiden rounds out the rest of your Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. Cars roll down the back straightaway out of turn number 1. Finian, your pick for tonight's race, and real picks this week. I know we had some fun with that last week of the All-Star race, but I'm gonna take my pick and I'm gonna stick with them.
You don't. There's no we with that. That was you taking way too much advantage of the system.
Hey, my pick
won
the
lack
race,
thereof.
so I knew what I was doing.
All right, I guess for this race, I've been liking Ryan Hart's. I've been picking him quite a bit. He's been having some solid performances this season so far, so I'm going to stick with the number 3.
Well, that was going to be my pick. I actually put him in the Twitch chat to win. I'll go with the 07. I'll pick myself.
You guys, you're missing out on the number 24 Flash Picks Ford Mustang with the man with the best beard in the area, Michael Curhan, who also has the best sign behind him if we get a chance to look at that today.
How about right now? New rule effective immediately. Every
wreck must be.
Oh, they're joking about the woohoo that I read or screamed out when the crash happened at the tail end of the All-Star race. That was a lot of fun, and that was one of those moments you can't really replicate. That was completely
spinning
accidental.
and schwinning.
It's a lot of fun. Time to go racing. 75 laps, an hour and 7 minutes from flag to flag. Here we go. Green flag. We're racing at the Tricky Triangle. And the Area Cup Series is back underway again as the summer season arrives. Cedric Hunter is going to lead Jake Nichols down to turn 1. What a great start from the outside lane in the background. That was a big move by the one of Seth Knoll through turn 1 side by side, Finian.
Yeah, and 3 wide in behind them in the midfield. I see JT Poole up on the inside in the 26 machine trying to make up some spots, and they're fanning out and almost dooring each other in the background.
Not only that, Jake Nichols got loose with the 3 of hearts underneath of him going through turn 1. Now they're going to try and single it out here in the tunnel turn. Tough to go 3 wide through here. Someone's trying to go 4.
Nicey stuff here on the opening laps of this race. There's still 3 wide midway through the field. They're getting sorted out slowly but surely. Just tense moments here in the opening laps of this race. You want to keep this as green as possible. Let yourself play the strategy out, but across the line, Cedric Hunter leads lap 1. What a start by the pink 07 Mustang, Finian. Got a great jump and ran away with it on the opening moments.
Yeah, curious to see how long he can run away with it. This is a really solid running for Cedric Hunter. How he's finished the season so far, he's 7th, so he's doing a really solid job and starting to break away from the 73 again, though. Once these tires start to get worn out, we'll see if he can keep that pace up. Reinhardt's in behind, though. Under attack.
Trouble, turn 1. There's a big crash in the background. 3 or 4 cars turned around. Sturgill is one of them.
Just pounded that wall.
Cogswell, and I think Ryan Swan might have been a part of it. The crash on lap 2.
Well, this is our first look at the sim rent market replay and determining how this wreck happened.
And right here, I think they're going to get squeezed. The 27 washes up into the 67. And big hits for those 2 cars. And Senesac dodging it, so does Seidenfeiden. And then back across the road and pow into the inside wall.
Yeah, it looked like Ryan Swan just didn't come up as high off of turn 1 as I think the 27 was expecting. I think he was trying to get Swan was trying to give more room to the 17 on his outside. Ooh. Yeah, and then met off the corner and around they went. Looked a lot worse than it was actually going to be. I think only really 2 cars with decent damage.
Yeah, this is way at the back, and I think you're right. The 67 didn't track out nearly as much as I would have thought, so I guess Cogswell can be forgiven in that one. And Seidenfeiden did an excellent job getting through it. We're going to ride on board here, see what the 45 saw. Started tail of the field, and when you start back here, you get to see everything out the windshield, Hunter, and this is one of them.
Intriguing view.
Oh, wow.
Well,
that could have been worse.
Gave Bryce a smooch and the wall a smooch as well.
Just beyond the camera shot there. So first crash happens on lap number 2 and some big hits for the 17 and the 27. They're both rolling, but now we're going to see how much that damage is going to affect them. Eric Wineland down on pit lane. What you got?
I got radio from Cedric Hunter for you guys on the start of the race.
All right, I'm retiring. I'm pitting this time by.
That was when he took the lead off into turn 1. He said that was the best thing he's going to do in the league, and he wants to go out on a high note, so he's going to choose to fake the pit road right here. But he was pretty hype about getting the start there. And then Douglas Newpicking just started, I didn't include this audio, he started screaming when they started wrecking. It was a little chaotic there toward the back.
It was fun to watch. Again, Cedric's start on the opening lap was phenomenal on the outside lane.
It stops.
Oh, do we have
It
some
stops
takers? We do.
From pretty much 23rd on back, Ed Robertson was the first to bring him down. Frankie Barroso, Dwayne Culberson, Ryan Swan, and others. I don't know the extent of this, Kyle, because the fuel window is you definitely can't make it from here on one stop. I think you need to. You may be able to make it on one. We'll see how things play out. But if they're doing a one stop from here, it's 35 laps on a stint, which is gonna be pretty long here for Pocono.
Yeah, we'll see how that pans out. I mean, if you're back there, I don't see a reason not to go for it. But again, I think this is going to be a track position race for a lot of reasons, as I mentioned in the pre-race. But I you're back there in harm's way, you might as well drop to the back and get yourself some fuel and tires. You're not going to use up your tire allotment either, Finian, so that's something to consider. Is unlike a place like Darlington where you had a long race and a lot of opportunities because of the extensive tire wear, you're not going to have that here. Relatively new surface. You're not in the corners for all that long, so you're not going to put a ton of degradation in these Goodyears, so you might as well take them when you can, I suppose, unless you've got a spot you don't want to give up.
Yeah, I think though definitely track position is going to be key for the guys near the front. I think that's really why we saw most of these guys were 15th on back that came into pit, so they just figured get some gas, if anything, try to play strategy. If the opportunity presents itself, that is going to be really if this race goes green. And I think there's a solid possibility we're working pretty good there, and this wreck happened further back, but we'll see. We always say, though, cautions end up breeding caution, so we'll see here when these guys get restarted how that's going to play out.
Is this a crew chief directly next to Ricky Springer, or a spotter, or both? Or it could be a backup driver.
I don't know if he's. I don't know what he's doing. It's really hard.
I just find the contrast of Ricky Springer's concentrated face and then the guy just like vibing in the background is a very great contrast.
Vibrating in the background. You see how fast those fists were moving? Like he's like a rumble pad in a PlayStation controller almost.
Hey boys,
what's up?
I got some more info for you on the man with Ricky Springer. Just listen in.
Hendrick's taking the top.
So who's this with you, Ricky?
That's Big Ricky.
Oh, that's my brother.
That's Richard.
That's your brother? Okay.
Yeah, that's my brother. He's in town. My graduation was Sunday, so.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
So Ricky Springer, congratulations to him on graduation. And moving on up in the motorsports world, I know he works for a shop that I will not disclose unless he ever discloses that publicly. But let's just say he's pretty big time. Is the number 51, and that's his brother hanging out with him tonight. His computer is broken. He says it sounds like an airplane taking off, which means all the fans are ramping up. But,
well, I mean,
that's why he's not racing in VR. This week.
Microsoft announced the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, so there we go.
Yeah. By the way, where did that announcement come from? As a flight sim fan myself, I was really excited. And there was a lot of people that were like, well, the 10-year runway, I don't care. Look, I love flight sim. There just wasn't a lot to do in it, and now there's stuff to do, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
So I'll throw my money at Microsoft all day long for one of the best game engines ever made. So side note away. Let's get back racing again from Pocono, Pennsylvania. Cedric Hunter is your leader. He chooses the outside for the restart. Lap number 6, 70 laps to go. Pace car pulls off. Here we go once again. Green flag back in the air from Pocono, Pennsylvania. And Hunter fires away with a great launch with the 7 of Scioli behind him. What a great start by those two.
A very poor start for Jake Nichols, and actually Nichols might lose a third spot. Ryan Hartz is working to his outside as they're 3 wide again in the middle of the field. The 30 sideways and around in turn 1.
There they go.
Did he keep it straight? No, he didn't. Nope. And now there's more involved.
Chris. Caution's back out. Boy, Chris avoided 2 wrecks within the span of 2.5 green flag laps.
So right back under yellow again, this time for, again, this is the cautions, breeding cautions that we talked about. This race either goes all the way green or it doesn't. And here's the look. We saw Beckner right here make contact with the 11, but there's the squeeze, the 83 of Brad Slaughter Jr. and the 30 get together, and that's kind of what triggers the rest of this. But just a lot of drivers condensing down to a very narrow racing line there. Rafe Slate got a view of that, didn't he? The 84, Yoneshiwu, the one, look at them all stack up there, Ricky Springer. And then they're going to squeeze down there. And did they finish crashing off to the left?
I think so. I'm not sure what caused Newbing to go back up on the track. If that was him just trying to...
He hit Ben Pierce. And it careened him back in.
Right there. Woof. Side and find again, dodging the bullets. Yeah. And here's what he saw once more. Wow. Little dodge and weave there.
Get your heart rate going. I don't know what will.
Yeah. So caution out for the second time today. I don't think we'll see more takers on pit road this time. I don't think there's really much advantage to doing that.
More fuel.
29 got the EOL for that. Does that make sense?
29.
That would have been Chris Rabel. Did I not see that the way that I thought I saw that? Let's go back and look again.
That was the 29.
I agree with this call, gents. I did. If I don't know, do we have a drone cam on Farch's style view? Because I'll help you guys with what I saw here. It looked like Chris Rabel kind of rode a little too deep into one, being 3 wide.
Oh, I see now.
Yeah.
So he rolls in a little too deep. He picks up Brad Slaughter's left rear, and that's what helps him get into Jeremy Miller and sent this off. Solar Flare Racing Radio here as they were avoiding this wreck.
He slowed it down to 70.
Oh, yep, they're wrecking.
All of a sudden, he slowed it down.
We're in it, boys. We're going to be.
Oh, I got through it.
Devontae Ballard extremely happy there in the number 21. You see him squeeze Ricky Springer right near the end of the wreck there to avoid it. He was pretty hyped to miss that one. That's a couple cars and a few more positions for he and Dwayne Culberson, who were right in the middle of that wreck. I just happened to be hanging out with them. Luckily, they weren't the wreck.
Well, good thing I'm not race control. I didn't even notice the 29 there last time. I was so focused on the 2 cars that came together, I didn't even see the match that lit the fire there in that case. So Chris Rabel will drop to the rear. And some damaged cars here early, guys, and the laps click away here pretty quick, even under yellow, because we don't have a lot of them in count, 75 laps. So the more yellows that you have, it chunks away the laps a lot more than it would at a place like Bristol, for example. So less time to race, and what that does is it's going to shift our strategy windows around a little bit. Eric, that's how much is that going to play into when we hit pit lane for our first real pit stop for the leaders?
So these guys taking the fuel under these yellows, it will make their stints a little more manageable. I did talk to Solid Rock earlier, and they were saving fuel from the get-go. But they didn't seem like they were too terribly uncomfortable with their position. They were pretty easy with one stop the rest of the way. So these guys can make it about 35 laps on stints, a little longer than 35 if they've stayed out since the beginning of the race. But caution laps here at Pocono are super long, Kyle, and the old adage, every 2 caution laps, is equivalent to 1 green flag lap, is pretty accurate. So we'll see what these guys can do, but pretty much a 1 stop from here just makes it so they may stop on something like 35 to go, or even 30 to go, to make that final stop.
Thanks, Eric. As Connor Horn up 8 spots in as many laps from not qualifying. And the restart, Finney and Cedric Connor drove away. Now he chooses the inside lane with Jake Nichols getting the outside behind Scioli. Mistake or not?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think of how he's looking. Oh, I think this is actually the much better plan. I think he's more concerned about the 73 Jake Nichols, so he's trying to keep him boxed in. And then he's willing to take the 3 Ryan Hart's. That being said, Ryan Hart's, he's not the loudest driver out there, but definitely one of the quicker ones. So he may put the 07 under attack if he gets the opportunity. So we'll see how this works out. But so far, the 07 of Cedric Hunter is in solid control of this race. That being said, I haven't had a whole lot of green flag laps, so he's got to hope that he can carry that car on the long run should it come.
Well, I was going to go back to Connor Horn, where he's up 8 spots. That's a spot a lap. In that case, he'll have the lead in, 21st? So by lap 30, he'll be a leader.
Some games here are going to be played, Finian. Cedric Hunter is in the Lucky Duck Motorsports channel with James Scioli. So I think we're going to have a restart play where Cedric's just going to make sure he fires off before James, and he'll pull up right in front of him, and both of them will be leading the pack down into turn 1.
Oh, we've never seen that go poorly before. This ought to be good, boys. Here we go. Cars rolling out of turn 3, getting set for the restart. Lap number 10 here from Pocono, Pennsylvania. Long Pond, PA. Here we go. Look at the launch, and it's a quick one from the 07, and just like that, he'll clear Scioli, and actually didn't even stack up the field all that bad, but wait for the fan out here, Finian, into turn 1.
Yeah, once the guys get in the background, got a bigger run, they might try to fan out and make a dive into turn number 1. I already see someone making a dive or tried to. It was the 84 Cosino and Shiwa couldn't quite get there. Travis Beckner is up 3 wide with Brandon 6 in the middle, and JT Poole and 6 barely clears the 28.
Don't try it in the tunnel turn. I was going to say the first time around, It's tough to do side by side a little on 3 wide there, but Ryan Hart's going to look low, trying to look under the 7 of Scioli. Not going to be enough, though.
Oh, that was really dicey coming through the tunnel turn at the speeds they were doing. Still pretty stacked up. Frankie Barroso in the 12. He was one of the drivers that pit earlier. Connor Horn dropped backwards on that start. Going the wrong direction here on this first lap after the green flag restart. And here comes Nichols on Hartz. And the 3 dropping back.
Yeah, look at everyone trying to sneak down the straightaway, making up some ground. Ryan Hart's trying to find some way around Jake Nichols, and someone, JT Poole, all the way down by the wall, it seems, on the front straightaway.
Gosh, that block from Nichols on Hartz was, that was a little dicey. I didn't know if the 3 was going to get a run on the outside or not. On board with the 26 of Poole, who's got a mirror full of Seth Knoll, and there's the 51 of Springer fading back.
And Knowles got some damage on the nose of that car from a stack up earlier, but now we're getting single filed out. And when you're following this close, arrow wash, that's something to be considerate of when you're following that close and you have the walls on corner exit, very easy to wash up and pancake the right side and then make your day a lot more miserable than it had to be. Through turn 3 they come, thundering over the camera and back to the stripe. Down the front straightaway, here we go again.
And there they go again. You can see Hunter in the middle of the track. Skyly trying to chase him down, but really for Hunter, this dirty air, as you mentioned, the arrow wash, it's his best friend, best tool to defend to try to keep everyone else at bay from him at the moment. Looking at also Cameron Hearn, we were talking about him in the points, low in the points, around 20th, is currently running in 5th. So.
Scraping it. A couple of cars scraping back there. I believe that was Jeremy Miller and Chris Seidenfein scraping the turn 1 exit. And there's Beckner looking low on Brandon 6 for the 8th position. I was going to say, if you don't get a good run out of turn 1, you're screwed for the straightaway, because if the guy behind you gets a good run, slingshot engage. And now we see Beckner trying to hold on to 9th from Greg Mitchell. That's another thing, too. If you don't get a good run out of the tunnel turn, you're going to
Beckner loose.
You're going to risk yourself losing a spot or 2, or even a car if you're Beckner.
Yeah, and this place has always played well to the drivers that are good at road courses. We got a battle for second here with Jake Nichols on Scioli, because this is a very point-and-shoot track. You dive into the corners, but you can't compromise your exit at all. And this track, with the speed differential between the turns and the different styles of turns, we typically see road racers play well here. But the changes to the car and the transmission that have removed some of the intricacies of downshifting in particular have brought the field closer together, and thus the racing has gotten closer together and harder to pass. So something to consider as we make our way through this race. Jake Nichols is fast. Despite not getting good restarts, he's got the speed to run up front. We see that here.
And in behind them battle, Greg Mitchell, Jacob Bell about to duke it out for 10th place. Rick Slate just got ahead of the 2. Oh, and Jacob Bell in the grass on the curb and about to spin out. Just held onto it, but it's going to lose a huge amount of spots.
That could have been rough there for 77 for the Bell. Keeps it going, though. Going to lose 10-plus positions. There's Brad going to look low going into the turn.
Big dive on the 77. Brad Slaughter brings the 83 to the bottom of the track, and Connor Horn, after falling back a couple spots on the restart, is now moving back forward, up to the outside, down the straightaway towards the tunnel turn.
Yeah, it's been making him some decent progress. Will beat Brad Slaughter, who's dropping back. Frankie Barroso also going to get around the 83 car.
Ooh, that car right in front of Bell. That was Springer. Oh, crash right behind.
Ryan Swan. That's a big one. He's going to get hit from behind.
Oh, gets hit by Douglas Newbegin.
Oh, no yellow. No yellow. They're still going.
We stay straight, but that was a big hit for Ryan Swan.
That 67 looked super sideways from the turn 2 exit cam.
Oh, yeah, he hit the bump in the middle of the corner, then washed up and clobbered. Who was that? That's the 11 of Jordan Martin.
Yes. And then Newbegin got a piece at the end there. Yeah, it just looked like he went down there, went below the yellow line, and just upset the balance of the car, and around he went.
Now watch from on board the 64. Watch right here, mid-corner. Bump right there. And it just snaps on him, and then pow. And Robertson just dodged that. But those two cars are, if that's not terminal damage, I don't know what is, Eric Weinland.
Well, Jordan Martin did retire from the race, but he also did not make a friend out there. Here's radio from 609 Motorsports.
Single file. Is there much to listen to? And the 11's a moron. That's cool. What did he do? Oh, how are you already behind me? Am I that far behind?
He tried to fill a
Trouble
hole.
guys,
at
turn
one-
three, crash. The
Wow.
84
Turn
car's
three.
in the wall.
Corner.
Yoneshiwu
almost
gets
did
turned
that to me
across
in
the
the exit of
nose,
one.
and
He's-
more are involved. Tyler Nichols is in it, and Seth Knoll. Caution out, third time today.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to go bad when I saw them racing off into turn 3. I just had a feeling that something was going to go wrong, especially, you know, with all these guys fighting and everyone, you always come up right on that wall and exit when you're single file, let alone when you're 3 wide.
And here's the look at it. Very tight here on corner exit. So Yoneshiwu just the slightest bit into the 41, collects Knoll. Now look at the rest of the guys behind. Boy, Connor Horn, whew, nearly got involved in that as well.
Yeah, that was a big one and
That
ugly.
one's tough.
Yeah.
So they put Tyler in such a terrible position there because Seth decides to take him 3 wide. Tyler's got to respect Seth to his outside. He doesn't want to slide up into him. And Cosman, I don't know if he just doesn't know they're 3 wide or if he was trying to run Tyler really tight, but they just kind of all met in the middle right there. And 3 wreck race cars. And Seth Noel, with the worst, he's going to be coming to me here on pit road. He has a meatball.
Yeah.
Very Rick Williams for Connor Horn there.
Yeah, and coming to a complete stop on corner exit as well, but more issues there. I guess the silver lining, if there had to be one, is that because they were already so close to the wall, that impact wasn't quite as heavy as it could have otherwise been. It wasn't like they came from across the racetrack. You see the 84 actually didn't even look all that bad.
Speaking of which, he will be getting the EOL for causing that caution.
Yeah, which is, again, I would call it a failure of the new damage model system that car isn't destroyed, but I also can't say that it wouldn't be able to drive away in real life either. So there's that. The cars are just absolute tanks. And he'll drop to the rear, and the damage is done. And Cedric Hunter ticking away laps led. And now he's got the 73 behind him again, and now you have to play the game of do you allow him to have the inside lane when you're on the outside and you can't protect, or do you start down there and hold yourself up and let the 7 on through? That's on the docket for the 07 to discover in the next couple of laps under yellow here.
I don't think it may matter, Kyle, because these guys are coming.
Yeah, I was going to say, we ran a decent amount of laps, so here comes pretty much everyone.
Except for some.
Brandon 6.
Some guys in the back.
Yeah, 6 in the 66, and Weishart in the 33 chose to stay out. But I got Cedric Hunter and company coming down to me here. That's going to be the first into his box back there is Connor Horn in the 42. He's taking 4 tires and fuel from what I can see. Cedric Hunter, Jake Nichols, and Ryan Hartz. And Hunter slid through his box. That's not good for him. Right side's up late. Looks like Ryan Hartz and Jake Nichols are at least going to beat him off of pit road.
Shout out to the Hello Kitty pit sign as well.
Yeah, Cedric Hunter not going to be in control for this restart. Couple guys stayed out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, 5 spots.
5 positions lost.
And that will leave him P13 with the cars that stayed out. That is a little mistake that has big consequences, Hunter.
Well, they always say you can win or lose races on pit lane. There's a prime example of that. We see many times in the season whether or not it's guys speeding through pit lane on entry, missing pit lane completely, or just missing their box, which we've seen quite a lot of.
Well, I guess the only thing that really benefits him from losing the lead is that there's 7 other guys in front of him that stayed out. And there's the lobster cam from David. Just got back from a cruise. Going to try a different strategy there. Going to restart second. But I guess that's the only good thing about it because this jumbles up the field and say Skyly Nichols gets entangled with, I don't know, JT Puller, Frankie Barroso, and then Cedric Hunter somehow misses it because this can jumble it up, just like what we saw with the Cup race. Actually, no, pardon me, the Xfinity race from Sonoma. You had cars stay out, and then Eric Almirola somehow found his way through and won. So it can happen, but only time will tell. And this restart is going to be the most interesting one of the race so far.
Yeah, David Weishart might have just gotten off a cruise, but this is going to be no vacation up here, running without any tires in front of a field that has just taken them. Eric, I don't know what the tire degradation is like. Again, I've said so far tonight that I expect this to be a bit of a track position race, but I guess we're going to find out how true that is on this restart. So far, it seems like restarts and the way that you attack them is how you gain spots. We'll see what Weishart can do.
Well, let's take an assessment of that. I don't know if we have graphics for this sort of thing, but I'll at least tell you about it, Kyle. So if we look at David Reishart's race lap times so far, obviously we've spent the first 9 laps under yellow at some point throughout, with the yellows coming out and halfway through the laps and like lap 2 and such. So David's first flying lap, 54.069. That was lap 11. His fastest lap was the lap before the yellow right there, 53.826. So not too much of a tire fall off right now. And David was just kind of ramping himself into the good part of his tires. So it looks like he took care of them. Kyle, I think this is a good call from 3 guys, as long as they took care of their tires. Brandon 6, David Weishart, and JT Poole. I think this is a good call from them. Saves them a set if they really need them later, though it doesn't look like we're going to need to be saving sets. But some of these guys needed the track position, especially JT Poole after he got loose, as we documented way earlier in the race.
Yeah, I figured we wouldn't really be in a set-saving scenario tonight like we would at a place like Darlington, perhaps, where you're really shredding tires. But despite that, having the option is always nice if we get to that point. Again, we've had a handful of yellows so far, trending to have 9 or 10 of them at this rate. So we certainly hope we don't get that many. But if we do, you have options open to you. Brandon 6 is going to be on the outside for this restart. Frankie Barroso did pit earlier. I'm not sure if it was just a fuel only. It was just a 5-second stop. Similar scenario for Seidenfeiden. He pit earlier as well. He took 4 tires. The next driver on 4 is James Scioli in 7th place. Pace car pulls off, and we'll be getting back underway here from round 8 of the Area Cup Series from Pennsylvania. Green flag back in the air and a good clean launch from Brandon 6. Weishart has JT Poole giving him a shove as we head down to turn 1. 3 wide with the 73 looking aggressive into the first corner.
Yeah, this can be really interesting with the guys with some fresher rubber in the back. Jake Nichols to the inside of Ryan Hart's trying to make a move as Michael Curran all the way on the outside, making it 3 wide. See Rafe Slate trying to join him as well on the outside.
Oh, very tricky back there with, oh, that is Culberson with nowhere to go. See how that goes as they head down into the tunnel turn.
Oh, Cedric Hunter trying to make up for lost time on pit lane. Slip and slide here through the tunnel turn, and a push from Travis Beckner down into turn 3.
Yeah, I always want to be careful because especially we've seen time and time again with the guys that make mistakes and he gets shoveled down in the midfield. Somehow or the other, they always end up finding themselves in the wrong end of a situation in a wreck. So he definitely wants to be careful. I know he's probably feeling impatient and annoyed that he made that mistake, but he has to be careful. Working up through the order, he could easily find himself on the wall. He's going to have a very poor finish out of tonight.
Oh, looking to pass Cameron Hearn there for 12th on the track. He was not the beneficiary of that, at least for the moment. Still looking underneath Ada Slayton, behind him Beckner looking underneath Cedric Hunter, and then a little further up front Weishart was looking under Frankie Barroso. Tugs back in line, top 5 single file as they head into the tunnel turn once more.
Yeah, 6 has got the advantage so far. Big wiggle there by Seidenfeiden in P6 on the turn in.
Whoa, almost wiggles into Ryan Hartz. He got loose off the corner. Hartz is working to his inside. Scully trying to follow through as they're trying to make some forward progress, but the tires not exactly kicking in, which I guess is kind of consistent with what we've seen with the next-gen car and the tire wear. Hartz struggling on the inside to get the car rotated, and Seidenfeiden's going to beat him off the corner.
Well, not only that, he's got a train on the outside. Scioli, Nichols, Curran, they're all going to have a run. He might have a chance here to slot in. He's going to. So he's not as bad, but Scioli, Nichols beat him. Cedric Hunter looking low right behind underneath Ada Slate for that position. And then a little further up the road, Scioli looked under Seidenfeiden, but to no avail.
Yeah, they're all going to get single filed again, right on board with Michael Curhan, rather, but this is really the battle, the 7 and the 73. These were the two of the cars that were up front before. Bit of a wiggle on the inside through the tunnel turn. Will it open the door for Nichols, and will he take that? How aggressive is Nichols going to be? He's got to win, but he knows that he's owed a few. He's been in position to win a couple more races this season, and it hasn't panned out. And here comes the 3 of Hartz back to the bottom for 7th place.
Yeah, I'm surprised he tried that move again because that run off the corner is very strong. And that's where he lost a lot of time last time through, and Nichols is going to beat him off the corner again. So Reinhardt goes into the 24 of Curran, trying to slam the door shut and keep his place in line. But all 3 of these guys are struggling to get past Chris Seidenfeiden, who's putting on a fantastic defense with his slightly more worn-out tires, and he's giving those guys a run for the money. Brandon 6 all the way to the dotted yellow line, playing games with David Weishart with the slipstream.
want to get too far down there because there are some pretty nasty bumps down that straightaway towards the inside wall. More on the inside of that dotted yellow lines. We're in car with Beckner's. Hunter going to look to the inside of Hearn for the 12th position. And this is a mental note that these leaders are going to take into account. And by that, I mean those that pitted, because the top 6, well, Skyler just now got around Sci-Fi. Actually, no, still trying to get around him. The top 6 stayed out.
Up, and speaking of which, Sci-Fi making a move on the 21.
I was going to say, later on in the race, if it comes to staying out, these guys are going to stay
Caution,
out.
trouble behind him. Dwayne Culberson on the front straightaway is in the wall hard.
That's interesting. Something catastrophic must have gone wrong here. It's very rare to see a wreck on a straightaway like this.
That car's got big time left side damage. And yeah, crashed on a straight at Pocono. That's not what you want to see. And how did it formulate? The 2 of Greg Mitchell? Ooh, that's ugly.
Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty cut and dry there. The side drafting gone wrong, and unfortunately for Carlson, very wrong.
And unfortunately for him, they pushed that wall closer towards the racing surface. So if it was 5 years ago, he'd be fine. He'd just be in the grass, but a hard hit on driver's side, right in the inside wall.
I'll bet he'll be wondering what Mitchell was thinking there. I bet you he's not thrilled with that. A lot of racetrack here, and again, just trying to side draft, but just miscalculated, and Finian, the consequences for getting that wrong are enormous at a place this fast.
Oh yeah, and especially, I'm a bit surprised it's a little aggressive, I would argue, this early on in the race, especially with things still getting going, but trying to make it work, unfortunately it didn't in this case, and around the 81 went.
Well, now what did the top 6 do? They continue to stay out, or they come in and get some fresh tires and tag the fuel?
Well, you're kind of getting low on fuel,
you're still going to have to make
right?
a pit stop. Well, these guys are still going to have to make another pit stop regardless. So I feel like for the best thing for them is just stay out.
But you have to be, I mean, I know we've run a lot of laps under yellow, but they have to hit pit lane soon. We're not that, we've I don't know, been out here for a while, guys.
35 laps on the tank of fuel from Eric Wineland.
So
and
40 with some cautions, probably.
And some of these guys, I think you mentioned it, Kyle. Frankie Barroso came in and topped off on fuel for 5 seconds, so he could stay out a little longer if he wanted to than the rest of these guys that stayed out.
That was on lap 4, so that would gain him some time. But I don't know. I'm not convinced staying out is the best strategy if this race were to go green. But at the rate of the
tires
yellows,
are clearly not worth anything.
That's true. That's true.
Little or nothing. Because if anything, that's what I would say they'd be worth it. But I mean, if fuel's your only limiting factor, there's not much point coming in. You can see they're all staying out.
All right. Well, there's one driver peeling off. I think that's the 2. He's going to be getting the DOL anyway.
I heard you guys needed my help.
Yeah. Yes. What do we do for the front 6? They clearly don't think they should pit. I'm wondering how much fuel they have left. Maybe 10, 12, 15 laps worth. But we could go green to the end from here, right?
Well, remember, we've had now 4 yellows. Does that count correct, Kyle?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So we've spent a lot of laps under caution. I apparently have grossly underestimated the fuel usage.
Or
grossly overestimated the fuel usage, excuse me, because I was chatting, or not chatting, I was listening into Bowie Esports there right as the yellow came out, and those guys were talking about making it from here. 6 quickly shut Frankie Barroso down and said you'd have to super save to do so I wouldn't risk it. But with all the yellows, they were at least talking about it. So it sounds like the fuel can maybe go, full fuel tank maybe can go 40 laps. They're talking about 50 laps if you super save. So I'd say some maybe closer to like 42 to 45 laps on a tank. But so far, they're choosing not to go with the strategy. They're going to hang on to their track position right now up here at the front. I do have some audio clips for you guys. A couple pieces about the racing and how they feel about it. Here's Travis Beckner talking with his Miller Racing Group.
Yeah, if you get stuck on the bottom, you're done for. You're going to the back of the train.
So pretty obvious that it looks like the passes are going to need to be done on the top, and Physicus Motorsports, Cameron Hearn, confirmed that with me. Listen into him.
I cannot do on the inside. Somebody had to pass me outside in the draft.
Yeah, back end just wants to come around.
So Cameron wasn't too happy because he was trapped on the bottom, Kyle, as you can tell. And also, Michael Curhan said Ryan Hartz is a super nice guy, and that's why he chose not to wreck him on the front stretch when Ryan Hartz really squeezed him toward the wall.
Oh, boy. Well, the dramas here at Pocono already underway. 4 cautions in the first 30 laps of the 75-lap race. Welcome back to the Area Cup Series, round number 8 from the Tricky Triangle. Kyle Heyer, Hunter Sleppy, Finney DeCuna, and Eric Wineland with you tonight for the 8th round of the season. It has been an interesting one. Any lap we could go green to the end of the race, but until we get there, we can expect more restarts, more chaos, more games to play, more chess matches to win on these restarts. Finney and Brandon 6 this time on the bottom for the restart.
Yeah, interesting to see if that's going to work out better for him. I guess he's going to be more comfortable taking the 12. I think wants to try to keep David Weishart more at bay, to try to put him maybe the 12 between himself and the 33. We'll see that plays out, though. Weishart looking pretty strong. It's nice to see that we got a whole bunch of new fresh faces up near the front, and they've stayed near the front after that short little green flag run that we just had. So curious to see how much further they can stay near the front. And you know, guys like Brandon 6, David Weishart looking pretty quick. JT Poole, we were talking about him doing very well in the All-Star race 2 weeks ago. So looking to see here if we can maybe get an actual win in the Cup Series if we can keep this going.
Yeah, very interesting that the tires have played the way that they have for these front 6 that have stayed out yet again. Trying to push it to lap 40 maybe on fuel. Going to be very interesting as we're getting closer towards halfway in this race, Kyle.
Yep, closer to halfway. About a little ways to go. Lap 37 or so. That'll take us all the way there. As the field rolls out of turn number 3, the pace car is going to hit pit road once again, and we'll restart down this very long, wide front straightaway. Feels like you can land a 747 on it. We're going to use it from wall to wall. Green flag back in the air. Good launch by the inside. Brandon 6. Whoa, check up already. The 7 scales the distance from the inside to the outside. And look at Cedric Hunter. Where did he come from?
Oh, it's going to end up very ugly here as Dante Ballard was at the epicenter of that. Gets doored by the 77. Ballard goes into the 65 of Ben Pierce. And looks like besides that, they're going to just make it through turn 1. That could have ended up in disaster.
That was basically disaster that didn't happen. But, yeah, big move there from Cedric Hunter. Actually got around James Scioli. But the big winner from that, Jake Nichols in the 73. Now the highest of those who pitted recently.
Through the tunnel turn here. Everybody being careful on this first lap. That was big moves. I bookmarked that. We'll go back and watch that a little bit later tonight on that restart because I said they were going to go from wall to wall. They used every inch of it. Barroso second.
Whoa, Cedric Hunter loose off of turn 3. He's going to get turned by Ed Robinson on the front. Straight away, the caution's going to fly yet again.
Pack is on the pack.
Oh, they're all crashed, aren't they?
They're still wrecking.
Oh, man. They're big hits there.
Brad
Oh,
Slaughter.
no.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Cogswell again.
Junk.
Holy cow. Well,
that was a long one.
That all happened within a lap, folks. That's how
there's
long
the
it
long
was.
pond straight and the long crash straight, and that was the latter on that time around. What happened there?
So it started with Cedric Hunter, just was pushing hard in turn 3. It's got loose. You can see him cut down hard here. Unfortunately, he's making the car push a little too much and just loses grip in the back end, starts to slide out, overcorrects, and gets tapped a little bit by the 64, and that sets it off.
Then what happens to the rest? Oh, this is the 64 coming back across the road. Ed Robertson. Yeah. That's what creates.
Michael Kern, Ballard, Rabel.
Was that Ryan Hartz in the middle of it? Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then the 83 ends up getting turned. I mean, there's so much happening here in such a short amount of time.
Ooh.
Absolute utter chaos on the front straightaway.
Oh. Wow, the Jonas Shiwu must have had the view of a century here.
Passes one car, we actually hit the wall, past another car, almost doors Reinhardt, and another car.
Oh, man. Eric, you had a good view of that, too.
Yeah, I was trying to get you guys an answer of what happened to the restart, and I have the audio for it if you want to take a look at that replay as well as we ride on board with Ryan Hartz right here. Oh, he just couldn't quite avoid Ed Robertson right there, and then Who was that? That was Brad Slaughter that got turned, and then Cogswell got turned in there as well. Yeah. But if our lovely producer, the man behind...
Nope. I'm just kidding. We'll look at it here in a second. One more view. This is Cogswell. He almost had it made, too.
Thought he was safe on the inside.
All right,
he
Eric.
was told...
Was it the
Brad Slaughter got turned by Chris Rabel. But if you can go back to the restart, I have audio for you as to what happened on the restart here. Listen in.
Like, I had to get out the throttle, step, and brakes, and then it shift. Son of a...
So Delonte Ballard got bumped. We didn't. I messed up the cutting there because I was finishing up with the wreck. But Delonte got bumped, and as soon as he got bumped, he could not get the car into gear. It would not switch gears for him.
6 wide there.
So he said he had to stab the brakes and then pump the throttle to get the rev match on the shift, and obviously that stacked the entire field up, and the effects of the stack up didn't pan out until we saw right there off of turn 3.
And there was even contact down into turn 1 with all this sorting itself out. Look kind of center screen there with the 21 and the 65 of Pierce. They weren't even done there. He
got a little tap from Bell into Pierce.
Yep, but yeah, as Finian mentioned, 6 wide. That's why I was wondering where the 07 went. He went off screen.
Holy cow.
And back across the right. That was.
It's so unfortunate he ended up wrecking at the end of this lap, but from here to 0.
Like winning the lottery right here.
Wow.
That was
I
cool.
don't even think the track cleaner can go that low.
Again, watch this. He never lifts. Sees the door open, and again, they paved this place 300 feet wide. Can't for the life of me figure it out why, but they did. And Cedric Hunter decided to use all but about 10 feet of it. Go 6 wide, and then at the end of the lap, we saw what happened next. But goes off.
What makes our home track so unique, Kyle?
They paved it for moments like that.
I'm just kidding.
Not for moments like this.
No. And the 07 took a pretty big wallop there.
Mm.
Yeah, that's about
That's
the
right
sound.
where Jeb Burton flipped over. Right at that same spot.
Oh, man. So many cars getting big hits there. Anyway, 1 to green with all that replay diagnosis. We are closing in on our halfway point. And, guys, this has just not gotten the momentum going that I would have expected to see, or what is typical here for Pocono. Are we nearing that point now? We've only lost 2 cars out of this race. Everyone else is still running. Seth Knowles 10 laps down. Dwayne Culberson is 1, but everyone else is still moving.
There are a lot of cars with damage now in particular. So, I mean, at some point you have to imagine there's going to be enough damaged cars where everyone's going to get spread out. So I think we're kind of nearing that point, I would say, if we haven't already. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, at most 31 cars on the lead lap, and you mentioned 33 still running of the 34 we started with.
Well, it seems like these front 5 or so that they very well could make it to lap 50 without having to pit. If we keep getting cautions at this rate, Kyle.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. This time again, after caution number 5, pace car pulls off. Make this track wide once again. Green flag back in the air from Pocono.
I want to give you guys one more note real quick. Greg Mitchell, the first one to pit, took fuel. He is 19th for the restart here, guys. And I think these guys are going to try to make it to the end.
Oh, boy. Strategies on strategies starting now. 73 Nichols, all of the drivers he was fighting in the first part of this race are in the rear view, and now he can just focus out the windshield.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, trying to see if he can finally make it through these guys that have stayed out here and have yet to pit. They've got past Chris Seidenfeld, who's been putting up a great defense, but now he's caught in some traffic. Nichols to the inside of the 26 of JT Poole.
Oh, trouble behind him. Crash, and Ben Pierce in the wall again, this time with Tyler Nichols. Caution is back out once more. Guys, what is going on today?
It's a full moon, I think.
I said that in my Sonoma race an hour and a half ago.
Well, since our last broadcast, we did have a big old ploof of smoke over the northeast region, and I don't think Pocono has recovered just yet from it.
I think that 65 is just... Oh, wow, he just locked up.
Oh, my goodness.
Just drove into the back of the 41. I think he locked the brakes up.
That is the most unintentional Texas takeout I've ever seen.
I think he went to make a move on the inside in behind Ryan Hartz, and then Hartz checked up more than he thought, panicked, and then, just went straight.
It was a panic brake situation. I'm actually surprised that triggered the yellow. They didn't get all the way sideways, but it was enough.
I mean, the 41 was perpendicular to the racetrack.
Oh, yeah, he was pretty
sideways.
Well, one can dream.
And unfortunate news that it's a waning crescent moon tonight.
Well, waning cars at this rate with how much they've packed the wall. But anyway, it'll give us an opportunity. Let's see if they'll hit pit lane this time, and then we'll get into some partners and people to thank before we take a break for a minute as we approach this halfway point. Brandon 6. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that was shaping to be a good battle between Nichols and Hearn. Hearn was looking closer to getting on the outside of the 73 of Nichols. He was trying to get around JT Poole, but Hearn was backing up turn 2, trying to get a run on that outside to avoid the 73 from getting there, and that could have been a crucial pass for possibly the lead. But we'll have to see if the front 4 come down and pit or if they stay out again.
Let us see.
Looks like he might.
They're thinking about it. Yeah, they're going to have to. With it, they're going to be close.
Ooh, and a good bit stay out too. Well, it makes the bag here.
It is very confusing to watch who's coming and who's staying.
Cameron Hearn pitted too, so that
quite a few guys did pit, but also a decent amount staying out. Interesting.
This is what happens when you get too many yellows.
Well, it is a strategy game to play. We knew that was going to come into effect at some point. Cedric Hunter's coming on back down again to continue some
Hello
repairs.
Kitty pit sign.
Yep. So let's reestablish where everyone is running. It's going to be Jake Nichols taking over the lead, and that is not what anyone else wanted to see. You give him the lead, he gets real hard to steal it back. Beckner second, Rafe Slate third, then Scioli and Springer. And first out of the pits, it's going to be Ed Robertson in the 64, then Brandon 6, Frankie Barroso, JT Poole, and the rest. We're going to step away for just a moment. We'll be right back for the restart here from the Area Cup Series, round number 8 from Pocono, Pennsylvania. Well, the tricky triangle has been tricky tonight. 35 laps, 6 yellows so far, halting the progress of this 75-lap race. Welcome back to the Area Cup Series. Before we get back green, race fans, be sure to visit simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. To the restart, after split pit strategies, put Solar Flare Racing's Jake Nichols up on the front row. Eric Wineland's got some radio from the 73 team.
Yeah, the Tyler Nichols actually in the 41 was not happy about this incident. Listen in.
Deep.
Yeah, it was weird. He just went straight, he went left, and then he went right, and it just went right into TK.
That was one of the fastest reviews. Right?
It's pretty simple. They were not happy that Ben Pierce decided to go straight into TK Nichols there in turn 2.
Yeah, it just looked like he got in there a bit too hot and kind of panic braked a little, shot him straight and up into the 41 and brought out the 6th yellow of the night. Just They haven't been able to get that momentum flowing. I think once we are strung out, that will stop happening. But a lot of the field, pretty much everybody but the top 6, just came to pit lane, which means that, in theory, with a little bit of fuel saving, they could be good to the end on fuel. The top 6, 17 laps on their stint.
Yeah, a couple more guys in behind that also stayed out. They didn't come in on this caution, but the previous caution. So a lot of the guys that just came in are starting around 12th, 13th. So a lot of changes in the pit strategy here as we go green.
Green flag once again from Pocono. And a little bit of shifting and shuffling in the background. Brandon 6 popping out of line. He's on 4 fresh tires. Change over from Kazman Yonoshiwu, but into turn 1, Jake Nichols lit the fuse and he is gone.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing you expect. You're going to see him try to drive away from everyone else. That being said, I haven't seen a whole lot of Travis Beckner and Rafe Slate. They might be able to make some noise. There's Delonte Ballard fighting side by side with Ed Robertson in the 64. Middle of the field as they off in turn 2.
Guys, checkups into the tunnel turn. It was like an accordion. You could watch the stack up like slack in a freight train. Just boom, 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 back down the row, Hunter, as they enter turn 3 now.
Yeah, they're going to try it again in turn 3, all the way 3 wide. Pulled on the outside, Ballard in the middle, and then right on the bottom, that's Cogswell, or excuse me, Newbigging. And now we go in car with JT Poole and Ricky Bobby watching on.
Tight moment out of turn 3, but JT was unfazed by it. Now the long way around into turn 1 on the high side, carrying in good speed. He's cleared. I think he's clear. No, he's not clear to the bottom. That's why I'm not a spotter. He's got the 17 of Michael Sturgill, who was already involved in a crash today, and he's rebounding nicely up to 14th place.
And up ahead of them, James Scully just exchanged positions with Rafe Slate for 3rd place. So the 7 up 1 more spot. He's not letting that 73 go without a fight. And he's got just Travis Beckner separating himself from Nichols.
Beckner closed up that gap quite a bit. I kind of expected the 73 to drive away from her with how much of a launch he had on that restart, but a little further back, there's Robertson now outside of JT Poole. Still door to door, and a little further back, there's Michael Kern giving a bump to Barroso.
Giving a big shove to the 12 down the front straightaway. Speeds climbing north of 193 miles an hour. Shot the 12 off in there with a big head of steam. Perhan's night's been kind of all over the place. Started up inside the top 10, as high as 5th tonight, as low as 18th. Runs, well, 18th right now. And for 2nd place, Scioli has caught Beckner and is going to open the door to the inside.
He's going to try to have a look there, but Beckner is going to slam the door shut to keep sure. Whoa, it's Beckner. Oh, Nichols up ahead. No. A little bobble, a little wiggle. He's going to lose some momentum. Here comes Travis Beckner in the 28. I thought he was going to look up the inside, but there goes Nichols' lead. Now he's got the 28 and the 7 breathing down his neck.
That would have been a perfect opportunity to pass, because now you set yourself up for getting passed by the 7 of Scioli, and all that does is help the 73 get away.
Did he touch the wall out of 2, or did he just get really close?
He got very close.
He might have given it a light smooch.
Scioli, a long way around here at 1. You can carry some good speed in this line, but if you commit to throttle too early, you can end up in the wall here, but he doesn't. And they've closed the gap. These long straightaways in the slipstream, Nichols is going to be fighting for a lead. He's got it now, but the tunnel turn, you need to have downforce. And following this close behind, it's easy to get understeer.
Oh, very easy gun in his steer, and with the shenanigans going up here. Whoa, he gets loose again. Here comes Beckner. Now he's going to take advantage of this opportunity.
3 wide.
And here comes Scully, 3 wide for the lead into turn 3.
Oh, 3 deep. Beckner's in a tight pickle in the middle. Nichols going to try and rip it on the outside, but Scioli on the bottom still going to try and take advantage. But the 73 gets to run off, and he'll still lead the lap.
Oh, and now push from the 28 to the 7, and Rafe Slate has joined the party. It's a 4-horse race for first place. Look at Beckner side drafting up alongside Scioli.
Oh, that was getting me nervous, especially with the caution we just saw not too long ago involving side drafting down the front straightaway, but they make it work. Scioli very aggressively slotted himself ahead of the 28, almost turned himself into the wall trying to get in between those 2 cars. You can see them snaking down the straightaway after turn number 1, heading to turn 2, and there's still some racing going on behind them.
They've gapped themselves from 5th, and this is JT Poole and Brandon 6 in the 66.
Ryan Swan loose.
Yep, they're creeping on that top 10. Poole is, and now going to get around Swan. They're going to be 3 wide heading into turn 3.
Oh, look out.
Oh, they're touching.
17 still kind of jacked up on the nose of the 67. And Jake Nichols is
Cover
running.
the ball.
Jake Nichols is running, but he can't hide. 2 tenths down to 1.5 tenths. Scioli reeling him in. The draft seems very powerful, even more powerful than I remember it being here, Finney, with the Generation 6 car. But we'll see if Scioli can continue reeling him in. Nichols is fast.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, these guys are, it's also impressive how much speed these guys are carrying, almost 190 miles into some of these corners. A lot fast compared to the mile and a half, a lot faster entry speed. But this is really where Nichols has been struggling quite a bit. He got through there okay, but we saw the last 2 times he really struggled through there, and that allowed the 20 and the 7 to catch back to him. But decent run through there as you look further down the field. There's Connor Horn and Jeremy Miller in the mix, running nose tail on P20.
Right in front of them, David Weishart, 19th on the track. And then a little further, oh my goodness. Get everyone go to the inside wall.
Running them down to the dirty here, huh? Wow. Big moves here. And it's working for Nichols. Didn't lose as much on the straightaway that time. It's a lot of work, though.
It is a lot of work, but I think it does help quite a bit, especially because these stalkers are so hard to move. So I think it really helps from preventing the guy in behind you from getting any sort of slipstream. A lot better than in the Indy car, which is a lot more maneuverable.
Well, we'll see them coming through turn 2. Oh, Nichols going to get really
he's so
close to that
close.
wall.
He's really struggling. It's either a big oversteer or a big understeer for the 73. He just does not have the balance through there to make that car look comfortable.
It's working, though. He's still keeping a manageable distance between himself and Scioli. That's going to get tight. Robertson all straight.
I haven't seen a lot of the Connor Horn.
Oh, that car did. Whoever was that last car back there just pancaked it.
Oh, Scioli ran Nichols down out of 3 that time. He's right back to the rear bumper now.
We're going to get tight off of turn 1, though, as Nichols has a little bit of a wiggle himself. I'm surprised that 73 is starting to get more unsettled. I guess he's just over-rotating in the corner or something. But, Eric, any word from pit lane?
Yeah, I got a report from the 73 for you guys. Listen in.
Whew. All right, let's see if I try to wreck myself again in the tunnel 3 in a row.
It's very weird, man. I gotta build a momentum. This car would lose the momentum easily, but if I hit it just right, I'm Gucci.
Oh, that was perfect.
So that was a couple laps ago when Jake ended up 3 wide. That was the lap after he was talking about the tunnel. He'd screwed it up a couple times over. He's finally nailing it now the way he wants to, and he's able to hold James Scioli off. So also cleaning up for you guys, we just hit 10 laps since the last yellow where these guys came down pit road. Here's Bowie Esports. They said they thought they could go 50. Well, here's them talking about their fuel strategy now.
Yeah, we're kind of close on fuel. Definitely need to save some.
That would make it a 40, I think about a 41 to 42 lap stint, Kyle, for the Bowie Esport guys who had come down pit road in the most recent time. And they weren't the only ones talking about fuel. I got some info from, or actually one more radio for you from Jacob Bell Racing's channel, which is a conglomerate of Jacob Bell Racing and David Weishart's team as well. Take a listen in to David Weishart first, and you guys will love what Brad Slaughter has to say right here.
I'm shifting up the 5th really quick when I do shift. You know what I love?
I'm going to cut out because you guys have a battle for the lead.
Yeah, Scioli had a big look at Nichols down into turn 1. Wasn't able to stay alongside him, but he's chipping away. And Beckner, wow, that was a big dive to the inside from Jake Nichols. Crashed behind him, the 84. Cosmin Yoneshiwo slams the inside wall.
Out.
Huge crash, and he's going to get hit again if everybody doesn't scatter. Oh, Bell.
Oh, no.
Oh, Jacob Bell trying to avoid him hits the wall.
Holy guacamole. That front bumper just exploded off the 84.
I was going to say, really testing the new damage model out. And I was just going to point out, I didn't find the right time to mention this, but Yoneshiwo was running an 8th with the car mostly repaired. He's actually having a decent run. I was surprised he's having such a good run, but unfortunately, I think, did he get loose or did he have some help from Poole?
Yeah,
He came up.
And then got finished off. Is that Mitchell that he got into at the end there?
Oh, Jacob Bell. Just trying to pick a line there. But again, they came up off the corner, and I think did he clear himself off the 26?
That's what I thought he tried to do. He saw the 26 get a massive run, went to the outside, and the 84 thought he went up and tried to block it. It wasn't enough, and then right into the inside wall. Careen's back on the track. Look at how high the hood flies. It's levitating.
Yeah.
And then Jacob Bell here, he's trying to go low. The 84's trying to gas it out of the way. And it just makes contact with the outside wall just a little tad bit, but that could have been way worse.
That was a huge hit for the 84. Oh. Now let's ride on board with the 84 as well.
Yeah, you can see him go straight there at the end. I think was trying to see if he can cut off the 26. Unfortunately, Pool was already there, and you can see his hood also flying, I think, into the infield.
Now, my one criticism of this damage model is that hit. There should be no bodywork left on the front of this car. My client said that was the case, but well,
and his hood just reappeared.
The internet doesn't agree, and this is one of the biggest problems with this year after year. But anyway, Eric back in the booth, or back down on pit lane, I should say, after that big crash with the 84 out of turn 1. How does this change some things for us?
Well, this makes everybody good to go to the end on fuel, because everybody's going to take their opportunity to come down to pit road to us here.
Well,
except I guess 2 people decided that
3,
they wanted
4,
to play.
5, 6.
Oh, a handful.
So those guys are the ones that you're stopped on the most recent yellow before. So that's Brandon 6 and David Wise are the first 2 that stayed out, along with Slaughter Jr., Side and Fun, and Senesag. But everybody else coming down pit road to me here. We're going to take a look at the front runners here. Jake Nichols is going to hit his box right about the same time as Ryan Hart's hit his behind him. James in a little earlier on his stop. 4 tires and fuel. That's all they're going to need to get to the end of the race. And I don't think there's a tire concern like you mentioned earlier, Kyle. For the end of the race, these guys are just going to be pretty much on these tires the rest of the way. What a drive out from Scioli. Did he...
He got him.
I think he did.
He got him, yeah.
Wow.
Let's look at that again.
That might be the race-winning move later on.
Just throttles up straight, and yeah, got him. Well done.
Perfectly executed there from the 7.
And he didn't speed on the exit, too.
Extra bonus.
So, I got some radio I want to clean up for you guys. So here's JT Pool's take on the incident that brought this yellow out.
Dude, like I thought he was giving me the top there.
So he thought Cosmo was giving him the top. They met on the top, and Cosmo ended up in the wall. And what an incredible almost avoidance, excuse me, from Jacob Bell. He ended up catching the wall a little bit. But I did want to give you guys, Finney and Kyle and Hunter, this radio from Wisehart and Slaughter, because it's just too good to pass up. Ryan Swan makes a guest appearance here as well.
Oh no. I'm shifting up the 5th really quick when I do shift.
You know what I love? I love Sim TV and the great coverage they provide for the area iRacing series. It's probably one of my favorite things that Sim TV.
Oh, I love
it.
Oh,
my God. That's a really good profile.
Oh my God.
So Ryan Swan got very upset in the middle of Brad's little promo right there and dropped the loudest F-bomb you possibly could. I didn't want to play it on the broadcast for you guys. I figured I'd give you the bleep instead. But Brad Slaughter having a little bit of fun while they were trying to save a little fuel there before the yellow.
Oh, man, I thought that they were just confessing their love very aggressively there for a moment.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I will sit here and give you guys a huge shout out for such incredible broadcast quality for us here in the Area Cup Series, coming from one of the admins of the team.
Well, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Before we get back green, though, guys, we're getting down to the final 25 laps or so of this race, which can go by pretty quick. So let's get some more things out of the way. Hey, race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings.
I also wanted to know, too, I was looking at the pit lane race off of pit road with Scioli and Nichols. Interesting to note is that while Scioli didn't get a penalty, he actually went up to around 59 to 60 miles an hour. He went 5 over the limit and then slammed on the brakes to just get underneath it so he didn't trip the penalty, and just got like a bit of his bumper ahead of Nichols. So he timed that to perfection.
Yeah, as Larry Mack said, he timed it perfect.
Time over distance is how iRacing measures their pit lane speed, just like they do with the timing loops or scoring loops on pit road in real life.
I really like myself some Larry Mack quotations, like Hunter just said. Some of my favorites. He put him in the wall. Or is that Darrell Waltrip? Darrell Waltrip. He put him in the wall.
That was DW.
2010
Yes.
All-Star race. I have never seen anything
these guys
like
put
that
in
in
the
my
wall.
life. Anyway, here we go. Lap 49. 26 laps to go, and we're back underway from Pocono. Brandon 6 covers the bottom. Brad Slaughter Jr. That car was in the wall down there on the front straightaway. About 15 laps to go. And, 3 wide.
Oh, the wrecking in the midfield.
Oh, there's your big one.
Everybody
No
scatters.
caution yet.
And no, wow, that caution took a while to come out.
Holy guacamole, they're still wrecking. Oh, go back up. Oh, wow,
boy.
that was very close.
Yeah. Not a lot of hits in this accident, just a lot of spinning.
No, they were a decent one.
Well,
Decent
I mean,
amount.
it won't take the cars out. We see that the 84 is still running somehow. Just, Springer got caught up in it. A whole bunch of others.
Yeah, so they were 3 wide there. Beckner on the outside. They checked up right where Skyley was, and there she goes. Just an accordion effect from the checkup.
Yeah, if the hit that the 84 took doesn't knock a car out of the race, I don't think it's possible to get a car knocked out of the race.
No.
Which is, again, this damage
In
model.
a parallel world where the damage
It's
the
frustrating.
doesn't exist.
It's frustrating because every build they're like, oh, we improved brake limits. You can't take a hit that the 84 just did and drive away. You can't. I don't care what you're driving. But anyway, back under yellow.
Now we got
Engines
Eric Weinland
off in the front group. Eric Weinland, they are coasting up front. What do you have to say about that?
Well, are you considering Brandon 6 and David Weishart as the front group?
Yeah.
They still need to save fuel, Kyle.
They're
still
saving
cutting
it.
They're cutting it close. That top 4, Seidenfaden 6, Weishart, and Slaughter are cutting it close, as well as Senesac. He was part of that group that stayed out as well. So they're trying their best to make sure they keep as much fuel as they can in it. Everyone else good to go. Ryan Hart said he wasn't sure about that one. Listen in.
I think that's on me, Travis. I really didn't think I was going to hit you.
And as I'm sure you guys reviewed over the replay, just kind of a stack up in front of him caught Ryan out, and he pitted Travis Beckner pretty good over there in turn 1. So we're going to see what I think race control has deemed it a racing incident because of that check up ahead. So lucky break there for actually they're announcing it right now. And yeah, I believe we're going to go with racing incident. So
yeah, that's
they're
tough.
not having a fun time up there.
No, I mean, this is a racetrack. I mean, it's almost like Coda Turn 1, right? It's like they designed the place with the intention of wadding up a group of cars down there. They're going tee-hee-hee as they design that angle of the corner.
They made this track a triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that they started many years ago.
Their whole branding is that this place is hard. So
they were definitely thinking, we have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever, and they made this track into a damn triangle.
Oh, roll racing on a triangle. That was a first mistake.
Not just any triangle. We're gonna make every turn different.
And to compound it, the start finish line isn't even halfway down the front stretch. It's toward turn 3. It just needs more speed down into turn 1
our
for
race
us to
control
wreck.
says he needs a drink. I think the track designers were already well into those drinks at this point.
No, the people who were drinking were the people that designed Trenton, where they decided to, in a left-handing turn track, they'd made a right-hand turn on the back straightaway.
Kidney beans, bro.
I really wish that track still exists. That would be awesome on like major series calendars.
Imagine Goodyear trying to make a tire that goes left and right.
Oh god.
You know, if Kyle Petty drove in our series, he would want what happened to Trenton to happen to Pocono. They just fill it in with water, and he famously said this, I think, about Darlington. Fill it in with water, and it'd be a great bass fishing lake. So.
That's why they got Lloyd at Daytona.
It's my home track. I love this place. I'm just, man, I don't know. I'm beside myself with the way these guys have.
If we had Kyle Petty here,
weird things tonight.
I was gonna say, if we had Kyle Petty here, he would just think that all this chaos is incredible.
That's incredible.
Jeremy Miller just got trapped a lap down right here, guys.
Oh,
You're gonna see him on right side of our picture coming in here. He did not make it off pit road before the pace car.
Well, if he gets a yellow quickly, he'll be the free pass driver. He'll only have to beat Cosmin Yoneshiu, who again is dealing with quite a second-hand looking Camaro, so it shouldn't be an impossible fight to win. But again, there's always the potential we go green to the end. But they have set the expectation that we are not going to do that tonight, guys. So I'd expect a free pass coming soon, but it certainly doesn't help your situation right now.
I do have one question for you, Kyle.
What's that?
So Michael Curhan requested every wreck be accompanied by a woohoo. Have we had that tonight?
We haven't, but I said I can't force that. That was just a genuine giddy moment when I realized that everything I thought was going to happen wasn't going to happen, and it was so unexpected that it was funny. And I had a little moment. and it got clipped. And that was that.
Someone clip that.
Well, the funny thing
was,
is
if you
that
have not gone back and watched the All-Star race from last week on Sim TV, you absolutely need to do so.
The way that it got clipped and posted in Discord, it just kept repeating like woo 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 woo. That was the funniest piece about it. It wasn't that I said it; it was that how quickly it repeated.
It went from woo woo, and then you just hear me going, "My God!"
It was quite the show. We're gonna get another one of those here. We're under 25 laps to go, and Pocono, Pennsylvania. Here we go. Brandon 6. Throttles up. Light the fires, spin the tires. Here we go down the front straightaway. Big fan out. Is that Cameron Hearn to the 4? JT pulls up the middle.
Ooh, they
looking to the inside, 3Y. Going to try to look to the inside of Bryce Senizak. Michael Curran's on the outside. Oh, he gets a little bit tight, almost into the 0-9.
No man's land for Senizak.
But they're really fanning out back there.
Look at Jake Nichols.
This is gonna be fun going in the tunnel turn. Yeah, Jake Nichols in 3rd, Skyoli 4th, still trying to fend off Slaughter's gonna tuck in line, and now the chaos.
Actually haven't crashed all that much down in this turn, considering that this has been Calamity Corner for some years. Turn 1 entry and exit has been our challenge tonight, but through they go. Jacob Belt changes lanes pretty abruptly, and Beckner tries to go the long way around. But Brandon 6 leads the way out of turn 3. David Weishart is behind him, and Jake Nichols is lingering.
Speaking of Weishart, he's got a really solid run down this front straightaway here. I'm curious to see if he's going to do anything with it. As you see Scully and Nichols start to do battle in the background for 3rd place.
Yeah, this is going to be good for the front too. Well, it was. Nichols backed off quite a bit. Don't know if that was to get a run down the straightaway. Oh, it definitely was.
Caution, background. Douglas Newbigging around in turn 1. You can see the background of the shot.
Oh, whoa. Car spinning on the apron.
Whoop. What? Cosmin Yoneshiu.
Yep,
now, I was just about to mention that he was in position for the free pass, but I wonder if this is going to deny that because of the spin.
Jeremy Miller? No, Jeremy Miller was in position for
He
it.
was behind Cosmin at
the
time of
passed
caution.
Miller as the caution was coming out.
Oh, wow. That's why he was on the apron.
Yeah, right there.
I say there's really bad bumps below that.
Oh yeah, you can see him. Whoa, like a rallycross car.
We'll look at that again in a moment. I do want to catch how this happened. And it was the 67 that just kind of turned the 71. Here's that 84 that we were talking about.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it almost looked like I-95 yesterday in Philly. Get to that bad portion and it just catches you off guard. You can hear the scraping from the bottom of the car.
Yeah, I was gonna say I never understood why they left that so bumpy down there, because it's apron that you could technically use, but in any car at speed, if you go down there, you are gonna spin out.
Well, the whole renovation of it to me makes no sense because they pushed the inside wall so close, and you saw what happened earlier in the race. If this happened 15 years ago, Cosman's just spinning in the grass, but because they pushed that wall forward, it flung him back across the track and gave him damage that magically reappeared on his car. And then it created that bump too. So, yeah, this whole renovation doesn't make sense to me. I don't know about you, Eric, but not really big of the inside walls being pushed closer to the track following the renovations from 2012.
Well, I mean, we've prevented incidents like what happened to Elliott Sadler in 2010, where he couldn't slow down over the grass, and he ended up hitting the wall at such a severe angle, it tore the motor out, put it back across the racetrack, and he like barely got out of the car. So you usually see most of these guys if you're... Oh, no, we are on our stock footage. I was going to say, most guys are staying out here on pit road. A couple guys faked it, but... no, I happened to be in the team that had Calamity Strike there for the yellow. Listen in to This Is All Radio from Lucky Duck Motorsports.
I have 6 minutes total damage I have fixed. That's my report.
Well, I got a bad restart, but luckily Chris did too.
We got speed back in the car, boys.
So his first 2 bits, that's Douglas Newbigging, who has fixed 6 minutes of damage prior to this incident, and Cedric Hunter, who's finally got all of his damage fixed, and the car came back up to speed. But then I just happened to be still there when Douglas Newbigging got some help getting spun.
Why, dude? You suck every time, dude. Oh, was it Swan? Oh, who could have guessed? Who could have guessed? Was it who was it?
I passed Jake.
So Doug was not happy whatsoever, and he's pretty upset with it being Ryan Swan. And then Jake, he said, or excuse me, James said, yeah, I got past Jake. He then said, I don't know how, but I got past Jake. So Skyoli sitting pretty well right now, ahead of, he's actually the first guy on tires. He only has 6 and Weishart to pass, who are out here on older rubber yet.
Well, we're going to have 19 laps to go this time, 18 at the restart. And fuel concerns, I'd imagine, are being erased every time we go around under control of the pace car as well, Eric. So that should help ease things for Brandon Six and David Weishart. But at this point...
If you could see my head right now, that is a big, fat yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be a skinny yes, too, but, you know, or, you know, a well-maintained yes, a toned yes. Big abs,
how about,
big biceps, yes.
Well, big brain. I have won a couple fuel mileage races here in the Cup Series before I retired from the Cup Series after season 1, so.
Retired after 1 season.
I went to the trucks instead.
That's a good move.
I thought it would be I thought it'd be a better time, but this season
been tough.
The Xfinity Series for area is incredible. The Florida Estates Builders Series is pretty top notch.
We'll be racing here on Thursday with those cars.
Where do we go in the trucks tomorrow?
Martinsville. God
yeah.
help your soul.
We'll be curious to see. The trucks have the new damage model now.
That's not doing anything tonight. We saw a car pound the wall at 150 miles an hour, and he's running around here only 1 lap down. So I don't think that's going to do it.
Just imagine what we're going to unleash at Bristol tomorrow night, Kyle.
Oh, my God. The new damage model...
excuse me, Martinsville. I just said Bristol, didn't I?
Yeah, the new damage model in many ways on the oval cars has been a massive retraction in the level of damage that you receive for doing incomprehensibly hard impacts. So it is...
except for the ARCA and
car.
the Indy car. And,
the Indy car, sure, but even that car got nerfed a bunch a couple seasons ago. So...
You mean... Wait, do you guys mean the car?
Oh, yeah,
yes.
The redacted car? Yeah.
Redacted car, yes.
Someday.
The stream's going to be taken down. I'm sorry.
One of many reasons.
We're having too much fun up here.
Yeah, we are. We'll see if the guys on the track are going to have fun here on this restart. Hopefully not too much fun.
Too much fun. All right, Brandon Six is your leader in the 66 car. David Weishart is going to start alongside him in that red, white, and blue 33. Then it's James Scioli and Jake Nichols in row number 2. 18 laps to go from Pocono. Big stack up on that inside lane. It's going to cause people to fan out when we get to turn 1. You can already see them popping out of line.
Also, big stack up on the outside lane. Weishart struggled to get going a little bit. Is that a hold up? Jake Nichols from getting a decent restart as they're 3 wide in behind them, as per usual at this point, doing car way up by Robertson. Going to be almost being the wall off the corner.
Jake Nichols looked all the way low underneath Sky.
Oh, he's 3 wide.
Still looking low.
3 wide with James Scioli in the middle. Weishart on the outside. Someone's got to give, and none of them are going to give.
Holy cow, they're still touching. Oh my gosh, that was almost a crash.
Funneling back, single file again. The 73 dives to the inside. 17 laps to go this time through. Can the field make it around and start stringing out? Big slide from the 27 to Cogswell. The 3 shoots to the inside, and everybody fans the distance.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brandon Six is loving this in the background because you see already the gap he's extended to with Weishart, Skyline, Nichols going 3 wide for a second. Nichols was a big loser on that. He's still trying to make a move on the inside, but it's so tough when you get pinched down from the car on the outside. 3 wide and behind them, though.
Oh, this is Barroso.
Oh, there they go.
I was like, oh, go in front of him. Oh, time fine in the wall.
Caution.
Massive hit. His hood's missing too, but it'll reappear.
Is his car actually dead?
Oh, yeah, it went boom.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He hit that wall a ton.
As they say.
Oh, it was the 2 area shop cars.
Oh, well, funny enough.
That's great timing.
Well,
it's very unfortunate timing and very great timing.
Well, let me handle this real quick. Race fans, be sure to check out shop.areairacing.com for merchandise to represent your favorite drivers and teams. Shop from our brand new selections of champion t-shirts, jackets, hats, and more. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areairacing.com. And shipping and handling, maybe your package will be a little dented up.
I was going to say.
If your delivery drivers were Chris Sonifine and Gary Grant, do not expect your package to arrive on time.
Well, this has been uncharacteristically messy. We were documenting how the Truck Series this year has had its share of challenges, but this has been a really tough cup race at a track that I was not expecting to have this kind of challenge, Finian.
Well, it is becoming, as it is in the name, the Tricky Triangle, or the Trippy Triangle, as you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's tripped over and stumbled tonight so far, Eric.
Not some fun times in Jacob Bell Racing Channel. Chris Seidenfeld not terribly happy with that move. If I had to take a guess, I actually wasn't in there. I was listening into Solar Flare because Jake Nichols was taking it to James Scioli. His quote in turn 2 is that he got a little bit of a door with James, as you guys documented there on the first lap, and then Jake is very upset with the yellow coming back out. And here's one quote from Delonte Ballard, which pretty much sums up, I thought you guys would enjoy this, pretty much sums up what the last 30 minutes of the broadcast has been.
Dude, everybody's acting like this is like the last lap.
So wise words there from the 21 car. Everyone is acting like this is the last lap. You got to get everything you can on a restart. I can't fault the guys for that, but man, if we watch the replays again on that one, I have no words for what took place.
Yeah, and I mean, you dangle the carrot in front of you. But you know what was interesting is when we did the All-Star race last week, I know it wasn't for points, but it was for $100 prize, and we were driving cars that are arguably much harder to handle at a track that is tighter, and we had a pretty successful clean and green race. So I think there's a component of the drivers. I think there's also a component of these cars not allowing drivers to stretch out. So you get these packs of cars where mistakes are just amplified, and that's what you get. You get 8 or 9 yellows at a track that's 2.5 miles and 150 feet wide.
Yeah, and I think it's also we talked about that it's really hard to pass out there. So similar to what we saw on the radio message with Eric, that everyone is racing like it's the last lap on these restarts because, like we mentioned, it's the best place to get all these spots at. And then especially when you expect more cautions to come out, you know that there's going to be less green flag laps to even get those positions. So it almost exacerbates the problem. I think that's probably what we're seeing here. I'm getting curious to see what we got with these last 15 laps because if the action hasn't down up to 11, it's going to probably break the stereo at this point.
And looking through, we still have... we're coming to 14 to go. We might get a restart with 13 to go, but 7 races, 7 different winners. We're still looking at the possibility of 8 with Weishart and 6 being 1, 2. 6 is 11th in the point standings. This is without the playoff picture, and David Weishart is not even running the full season, so it could definitely shake up some things. Still have about 2.5 handfuls of laps left, but this is definitely going to shake things up in the point standings for those like Ryan Hart. So he entered second in drivers' points, and he might lose a couple positions with how close that battle is after this is all said and done. But Kyle's still a good bit of ways to go.
Go ahead.
No, you go. Your turn.
I was just say, speaking on Ryan Hartz, he's still recovering after he had that incident with Travis Beckner. He is currently, let's see, I just had him score. Yeah, he still scored 18th right now. But Hunter, what do you make of this with Brandon 6? And I guess one other note that I didn't mention to you guys, David Weishart topped off. So he has one yellow lap better on fuel than Brandon 6 here at the front. But from what you guys have seen up here in the booth, Hunter, Finney, and Kyle, do you expect 6 to be able to try to hold these guys off?
A little bit of both.
I like
hold them off, but just the amount of cautions that we're seeing, he might not even hold them off. He just wait for the yellow to come out and then just continue to log laps under yellow.
Yeah, that was my point. Actually, is when you get this late in a race where the trend has been cautions, I am going to do everything in my power to keep that track position, because with the way that it's been going, all he's going to have to do is get a good launch for the first lap, and he'll be able to protect this spot. As far as the wins have gone this season, there have been 7 different winners in 7 different races so far. No repeat winners yet this season. Ryan Hartz is the highest running in the points that doesn't have a win. Next would be Cedric Hunter, then Michael Curhan, and Curhan is currently 6th.
To win the race, by the way.
Yeah, so other than that, we will either have a driver that is not up near the front winning a race, or our first repeat winner of the season. 13 laps to go. Lap 63 of 75, and there's the green flag. Restart underway, and the outside didn't get a very good jump. It stacked him up. Here comes Nichols up the middle.
Trying to go up the middle, is going to look to the inside of David Weishart, looking into turn number 1, and everyone else fanning out in behind.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, Finian.
We're wide there for a second.
Jake Nichols, big run to the inside, but nowhere to go with it once they hit the tunnel turn.
Yeah, David Weiser going to scoot around the outside. Michael Curran also trying to make up some ground. Restarted in 6th, is trying to fight for 4th. He can get around Nichols. Weiser going to get a little bit tight, and here comes the 73.
Culberson was wall riding heading into the tunnel turn, but to the outside of Jake Nichols is Michael Curran, and trying to get to the outside of 6 is the 7 of Scioli. Nichols still fighting for 3rd.
Oh, he's sideways loose off the corner, and he's going to lose a ton of momentum down the straightaway. Here comes Weishart and the 24 Curran as a drag race for the top spot between Scioli and 6 occurs, and Scioli might get him here.
7-8-6-6 down into turn 1, going for the lead. James Scioli trying to put all the troubles in the rear view, and he does, to the top spot with 12 laps to go.
Yeah, he timed that really well with a great run off of turn 3 as 6 was struggling, getting a little bit loose. So we'll see if Scioli can hold on to that for now. If anything else happens in the background, as Rowe was 3 wide off the tunnel turn there, with Ryan Hartz working the outside, Ed Robertson.
Curran looked like he was going to clip that apron.
Whoa.
Oh, Slade nearly getting into the side of Hearn there. This is a fight for 6th right behind Curran. And now Hearn going to look underneath his teammate for that 5th position, and Nichols still trying to get around Weishart.
Across the stripe, 11 laps to go. The laps are ticking down. The 24 throws a defensive block there on the 4 of Cameron Hearn. He has a push from the 8 with a storm into turn 1 at 190 miles an hour. And the race is on. 3 wide here for just a moment as Rafe Slate looked to the inside of the 24.
Lindsley backed off of it to make sure, I think, that he didn't get involved, turning around the 24, the 4 getting into him. Speaking of which, Hearn drag racing Rafe Slate, JT Poole joining the mix after being stuck quite a few positions in behind.
Look out, big slide.
Nichols gonna slide. Oh my goodness, it's almost a slip and slide there in the tunnel turn for Jake Nichols. Gonna hang on the 4th, still struggling to get around Weishart for 3rd. Gonna try and look to the outside, but don't leave that door open too soon. Here comes Curran.
10 laps to go. A wiggle from the 2 of Greg Mitchell. Ooh, big tank slapper for the 51 of Ricky Springer. Across the stripe, Scioli's lead a half a second. 6 trying to keep him honest. He's still a half a second back, but Nichols still working over the 33 into turn 1. He's not going to clear him this time.
He's trying to make the move to the inside because that's the only lane Weiser gives him. They're going to touch George just a little bit off of turn number 1. Weiser's going to get the run and a little bit of slipstream from Brandon 6 as you see Nichols has to slot in behind. And will still be stuck in 4th. And he knows, I think he's trying to be in a rush here. If he can get past the 33 and the 66, he might still have a shot at Skyoli.
Gonna have a good shot here, and down the second back straightaway. Gonna still stay tucked in behind Weishart. I say if he doesn't make the move soon, Michael Curran will. Here he comes, looking low, but Nichols gonna diamond it perfect through turn 3. Gonna have a run on Weishart down the front stretch.
Down the front straightaway. Speed's
Weishart has a good run on Brandon 6. Does he peel out? He's actually staying in behind. I'm surprised by that.
Give him a shove. Try to catch Skyoli. Gap is still half a second, but that 7 car is hooked up and on much fresher tires, and that's where this is going to start to matter here. Now that he's got the track position, the tires will start to be able to be utilized here now with the clean air on the nose.
Ooh, David Weiser gives a shove to Brandon 6, and he gets himself into the wall. And just on the yellow line, Nichols hit it, and it pushed him off the track.
Well, a little further back, there's the 2 of Mitchell, the 17 of Sturgill, and then a little further back here, got Jeremy Miller in the 30 car. Has not been able to work his way through this, riding on board with him.
Rabel ahead of him, the 07 of Cedric Hunter. Both those cars got EOLs for incident responsibility earlier in the night. Cedric Hunter looking at Jacob Bell, and for 3rd place, Nichols again side by side, a little further along this time through, and now clear of the 33. Will he slot up ahead of him?
I think he might be able to here. I think he's trying to see if he can get alongside Brandon 6 and side draft him. There he goes, and now he's going to lean on the quarter panel, slowing down Brandon 6, and there goes 73 charging through and a dive into turn 2.
Gonna have enough momentum to clear him. He will for the time.
Oh, David Weiser loses off the corner, spins back up into the track, and a caution's gonna come out again.
Cameron Hurd also in the wall.
Oh, he saves it.
Holy cow.
Caution out.
Flirting with disaster there.
8 laps to go, and nope, they did crash. Rafe Slate.
Oh, Rafe Slate.
That car is absolutely destroyed. So they got
came down into him.
They got past, and right here.
Oh, Slate, yeah. Whoa.
Oh, what on earth?
This was completely after. Yeah, Slate saved it more or less. He hit the wall, the outside wall, and then Sturgill and him made contact.
This is that incident that they avoided there with the 33. They get together, and then he's got damage, and then the 17.
It was broke, guys. Slate's right front was broke.
Oh.
So the contact with him and Cameron that put him to the wall broke the right front. He had no drive.
As for David
From
Weishart,
sitting in the cockpit.
here's what happened. Got caught up behind the 66 and just kind of lost it. Got hit. Oh. So, 7 laps to go. We're going to get a late race restart with Skyoli and Nichols on the front row. Both of them have won races so far. Nichols leads the point standings by a huge margin, but only has 1 win to his name.
I'm curious to see where Skyoli's going to pick as far as lane choice. Does he want Brandon 6 to be in behind him or Michael Curran to be in behind?
Jake's going to do the old dip and dodge, and some of these guys might actually come down and pit.
Yep.
Someone? Anyone? A little further in the back? Yeah, I was going to say, staying out at this point, we saw it way earlier on in the race. If you top 6 went about 15 laps before anyone that pitted got around him. Granted, had quite a bit of cautions in between them, but staying out at this point going to help you more than hinder.
So we're not going to see a green-white checkered this time. So that means that the most amount of yellows we can have from here on out is 2, with one of those ending the race. I've lost count.
A lot.
I have not been keeping notes.
I want to say 9 cautions.
Oh, that is too many.
9 sounds good.
Too many for a 75-lap race.
Do we still have the graphic where it has the stats for the race?
No.
Oh.
It's in the workshop being worked on.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Kyle.
Yes.
I gotta pat you on the back because Finian saw my side of this when I did a race broadcast with him. Beautiful segue from the Garrett Grant, Chris Heidenpod wreck into the ad read.
It was just
Finian was laughing at the ones that I managed to come up with when I got to do the broadcast with him a couple weeks ago, and yeah, that was beautiful.
Thank you. I had to read the ad at some point, and it was the last one on the list, and sometimes they just write themselves. So we're going to get a restart with likely either 4 or 3 laps to go if we get the one to green this time by.
We should.
So that would mean 4 laps, and any yellow flag before the white would put us in a green-white checker scenario. And as we are used to running, we will have 1 attempt at a green-white checkered should we end up in that scenario. I'm going to put good money on that we will. And once that green-white checkered has been engaged, next flag will end the race, whether it is a checkered or the yellow. If we get to the white, game on. Run each other into the catch fence all you want. It's
they will.
And we have seen
the way we're going
before.
We're flying out the tunnel turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like James Scully's picked the outside lane, so Curran will be in behind him for the restart. Nichols will be in front of Brandon 6.
Not to mention, Connor Horn has made it inside the top 10. I don't know how long he's been inside the top 10, but we haven't talked about him all race long.
He's just cracked it.
There you go.
He hasn't really had much of a night.
He was the beneficiary of avoiding the wreck right there and gaining a couple spots because obviously we saw Slayton Sturgill. That was a couple cars out of the top 10 that promotes Connor.
Yeah, we have not seen the typical pace out of Connor at this track that we would expect. He's been top 3, top 4, top 5. So for him to be mired outside of the top 10 and be here only on avoiding wrecks is unusual.
Does he have like an open wheel seat set up? Because he sits so low in his seat compared to like any other driver we look at. I swear.
Big seat, small dude, I think is your answer to that.
Oh, the pitter.
So.
Yes.
All right. Coming to the green. 4 laps to go. If the yellow comes out before the white, we'll have a green-white checkered. Scioli is your leader in the orange car on the outside. Jake Nichols going for 2 wins. So is Scioli. Curhan and others looking for their first of the season. Green flag, and we're back underway. Less than 10 miles.
All stacked up in behind. I saw some guys trying to gain the start in the background as they're heading off. And you see them all so close together, probably the closest we've seen them on a restart, heading off into turn 1. Do we make it through, though?
Oh, man, tense moments.
And Robertson. Yeah, he just... they really cut it close with the wall. Now Jake Nichols has his eyes set on the 7. Curran going to give a massive run down into the tunnel turn. Here comes 6, looking for 4th from Poole.
What about JT Poole in the closing moments of this? Could he steal one away as they shake and shuffle? A couple cars splitting pretty wide. Look at Cameron Hearn. Where did he come from all night long? He hasn't been in the mix.
Yeah, well, remember, was almost taken out on that wreck after making contact with Ray Slate. Held on to it, and he's going to keep going. Make some contact with the curbing, though. Goes a little bit sideways. Will lose some momentum, but will continue onwards. Ryan Hart is back in the top 5 somehow. Oh, and then puts an aggressive block on Connor Horn.
Took him all race long to get back inside the top 5. Still not done yet. Trying to fend off Connor Horn. You see battles continuing to occur behind the top 5.
Whoa.
And way up the track, there's Connor right there with Brandon 6 and Travis Beckner.
They're scattering 3 wide down the back straightaway. Scioli weaving, trying to keep distance between himself and Jake Nichols. The gap is 0.2 of a second. Brandon 6 on the inside. That's a tough line to hang on to. Taps the 4 in the tunnel turn. They're going to crash. There they go.
There's your big one right here.
Oh, Cameron Hearn in the middle of it, and the caution will fly again. Oh, Gray Mitchell, Jacob Bell, Douglas Newby can get involved as well towards the tail end.
full course yellow, and that means that we are going back under the control of the safety car. That was my road coming out there for a moment, but that means that we will get a green-white checker, boys.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate for Cameron Earn. We were talking about it again at the top of the show. Was barely inside the top 20 to secure that locked-in spot for winning a race, and needed to get some more valuable points to keep him more secure. This will probably drop him outside of it here, depending where he finishes. He's in 24th at the moment, but this is what happened.
Yeah, this is 100% on the 66 there. He did not, I mean, he was not there in my mind here. And he's clear and just dives in there and wasn't going to make a pass on the 4 and gets in there. Then he finishes him off. So that was, Brandon Six had an excellent race until that point, but that was a very large mistake on his part. Just diving into a spot too late, too hard. And
Ricky Springer just narrowly avoiding that, as well as a bunch of other drivers on the inside lane.
Yep. 77 spins back, clipping the 4 into multiple other cars, and we're gonna have ourselves a green-white checker. And before they even start, I don't think they make it past the tunnel turn.
Yeah, it's disappointing that we've had so many races this season get to this point, but I just don't have a lot of confidence that we're going to end this race under green. It's going to come down to the restart, as it always has. Scioli, the one that will have the advantage. What just stinks is, you have a messy race here and there, but you hope that at the end of it you'll have a silver lining and get to watch a good result. But we have not really had that benefit. So I hope that we get to finish this one with the green, but not actually that hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm gonna be hopeful. Gonna be probably disappointed, but I'll be hopeful.
Disappointed, but not surprised for me.
Yeah. I'm not sure what it is about this track and this car, but this has been a challenging combination.
It's that smoke from the Canadian wildfires that have been looming over
don't
the
get me started
area
on
the last
that.
few days. Oh, yeah.
Firefighter Finian's triggered.
It's been so. It was smoky. I mean, it's cleared up. Definitely cleared up by now. But I remember I didn't even realize there were wildfires. And I was looking. I was like, I thought it was a fog at first. And then my partner in the ambulance was like, no, it's like wildfire in Canada. I'm like, oh damn, that's a heck of a wildfire.
Eric, how bad was it for you over there in the central part of the state of Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And I'm holding the wheel.
There he is.
That was a technical malfunction on my part. I accidentally just moved Kyle Higher out of the channel.
I was wondering what was happening. I got confused. I was like, what? Uh-oh, I just crashed Discord again.
That one wasn't me.
I got confused. I was wondering what we were listening to for a second.
Yeah, you got put in Boo Esports as I was trying to fumble with my mouse to get around to being able to hear Hunter's question. So Hunter, I think you were asking about the smoke.
Yeah, from the Canadian wildfires.
It didn't turn orange like New York City, but we did lose a lot of visibility over here in central Pennsylvania. And prayers to those fighting the Canadian wildfires. Hopefully they can preserve the important assets they need to preserve. But it's one of those things, wildfires. And Finian probably knows this, having been in the emergency service, get the experience of it. It's one of those things they just kind of got to let it burn and work itself out.
Yeah, pretty much. You can only do so much against nature.
Yeah, Mother Nature's a tough beast to fight. But coming back around to the race for you guys, you got audio here from James Scioli. This is prior to the caution, so you guys know.
That might be a sitting duck out here.
So that's the only quote he gave me over a 2-minute period where I was sitting there recording audio of him. He was not looking forward to trying to hang on to that. Now, Jake Nichols was, I didn't record this, he was talking about trying to PM James and get to see if they can play a restart game together to try to be the only two to fight for the win. It doesn't look like James really helped Jake out in that case. And then something else James mentioned was he wanted Michael Curran to side draft Jake. Well, now he's hoping JT Poole side drafts Jake, so it gives James the about half-second gap he needs to go out and win this race on this GWC.
Oh, doubling up here. We get one try at this. And Scioli is going to have the advantage here on this launch, but he has to get away cleanly. JT Poole, perhaps the highest running driver that does not have a win. Michael Curhan will be right alongside him, also searching for his first win of the season. So row 1 has had a victory. Row 2 and half of row 3 has not.
Well, we'll see what happens here.
Got to get back to the white flag to finish this one under green. It's 2.5 miles from now. Turn 1 is the tricky spot. Here we go. 5 miles remain at Pocono for the Area Cup Series, round number 8, and here we go. Good launch by Jake Nichols. Not a bad one alongside Scioli, but the 7 still will have the advantage with JT Poole clearing this 73 almost into turn 1, but not quite.
This is exactly what Scioli wants. So is a huge crash in turn 1. That'll be all.
Dang it, guys. Come on. Didn't even give him a shot to race. What a disappointing end.
Disappointed, but not surprised.
Oh.
There goes my hope. Oh, it was before they even got to the turn.
Yeah, they were going for the win back there in 20th.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Don't know what that was all about. I mean, if you're going to complain about drivers running into you on a straightaway, you definitely can't do it to somebody else. So, James Scioli will come back around, and he's going to pick up the white, and next time by the checkers. JT Poole will be second, then Jake Nichols, Connor Horn, and Ryan Hartz.
And how about Connor Horn at the end of all this? Up 25 spots from 29th to 4th.
Oh, and that Ryan Hartz as well. He was involved in that wreck, and he took him all race to climb back inside the top 10, and at the very end got a top 5. Good run for him. And talk about JT Poole still going off that high from the All-Star race, and also really All-Star Open a week ago. Got into the All-Star race from winning the Open, and then almost had a shot at the All-Star race itself. But Kyle, we got our first multi-race winner in the Cup Series this season, James Scioli.
Yeah, Scioli, what a job he did. I mean, he put himself in position and only led 15 of the 78 that we're going to complete. But
yeah, he's not going to care.
And
he's talking about being the sitting duck earlier, but
yeah,
looking like he's going to be the lucky duck.
Yeah, there you go. And there's the call that we needed. Checkered flag, James Scioli, at a slower speed than he would have liked, took 2 hours and 14 minutes to finish these 78 laps, but he finally does it. Checkered flag, second win on the season. JT Poole, Jake Nichols, Connor Horn, a top 5 after all that. 4th place, and then Ryan Hartz. What a rebound for the 3.
I was going to say, and that car does not look half bad compared to where it was when he initially got put way down the order.
And he will be celebrating that as now the top seed in the area playoffs later this season.
Lucky Duck Motorsports Radio for you.
I don't think we had enough yellows there. Could have used a couple more.
All right, we have 32X.
So that was a problem.
We are ending the race with 32X. I'm hoping that's a new record for Pocono.
God damn.
32X.
Douglas Newbigging picking up 32X tonight, guys.
How does that happen at an oval?
He actually.
But the car's still running.
It's Pocono, not Martinsville. I mean, it's.
So, you guys mentioned the new damage model. Obviously, he didn't get an EOL tonight, so it wasn't the cause of an incident. And somehow he lived through 8 separate 4X incidents.
Wow. Here's a look at your race results. Poole, Nichols, Horn coming up just short on Scioli. Then Hartz, Curhan, Beckner, Springer, Barroso, and Ed Robertson, the rest of the top 10. And Finian looking 11 through 20. And this was kind of luck of the draw on the closing laps, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of amazing because there's some names out of guys that I thought we never would see anywhere near the top 20 after the first opening laps. Jeremy Miller up into 13th, Brad Slaughter in 16th. Brandon Six, of course, getting relegated to the back after causing a caution, so he ended up finishing way down the order at 19th.
Indeed, Cogswell and Sturgill Newbigging as well each had their fair share of carnage, including Hearn. Weishart at the very end there. Tyler Nichols, part of that late race caution, Swan, Culberson, then you got Yonishiwu, Bell, Mitchell, Seth Nolan. That race slate the first of those out.
Looking down the rest of the order here, down to 35. Connor Okrezik, 35th position, the last driver out. Jordan Martin out early with this one. Let's chat with a couple of our drivers. It was Jake Nichols that came home in third place, fought for the lead a whole bunch tonight, but just didn't pan out, didn't get the cycle at the right time to end up on top, Jake. But P3, again, a points lead, well established, but the wins are what you're looking for, and again, just shy on that tonight.
Yeah, car was pretty good. I mean, we just didn't get any runs. We're kind of due for that style of race. I mean, there's been a lot of races where there's a lot of lack of respect within the race, and I've told people that we're kind of due for this caution-filled race. I wish we didn't. I mean, I wish we don't have these kind of races. I don't think anybody watching, anybody racing, anybody adminning, broadcasting wants to see that kind of race, but the unfortunate thing is I think we go super speedway racing and then road course racing, so I don't know if this will teach anybody anything, but hope so, because we got a lot of good drivers in here. I think everyone just needs to learn how to tone it down and have some respect for others, and I think we can put on some really damn good races, but hopefully we have that in the future. Another top 4 is awesome at the end of the day. We love getting those points finishes and don't want to take clutching with an 11th and the rest of our team having some issues there, but overall, not a great night, not a good night, but it was better than average. So we'll take it in the Solar Flare Racing camp and move on for hopefully more top 4 finishes.
Jake Nichols, P3 in the 73. Jake, we'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you there.
JT Poole comes home second after a really strong run at the All-Star race last week. Kind of robbed of a shot there at the end, JT, but P2 can't be disappointed in that, but maybe one spot better would have been even sweeter.
Yeah, it would have been nice, but I don't think I would have had anything for him at the end anyway. Clean air, and I'm not good at Pocono. So congrats to James, and Jake had a really good run too. So, man, that was a rough race for everybody. So I don't know where we are next week, but hopefully we can clean it up a little bit. But yeah, just sucks we couldn't at least finish that under green.
JT Poole, second place in the 26. JT, have a great night. Thanks for chatting.
Yes, sir. Thank you, too.
And James Scioli, the first multi-time race winner this season, gets it done. I'm sure it probably wasn't a bad thing to see the yellow, knowing that you were out front, but race pace slower than we would have expected behind the pace car all night, but led 15 laps and won the race, so it can't be all bad news.
Yeah, it's whenever we get a race like this, it's nice to come out on top at least. I don't know. I think we were kind of due for a race like this in the Cup Series. We've had some in the other series, and unfortunately, it just after a couple off weeks and stuff, just kind of all pulled up here, unfortunately. But just glad I was able to get all the restarts good. I think Jake and I were going to have a pretty good battle for the win if we could ever get some green. I know we had some good racing going on up at the front, so I wish we could have showcased that a little bit more. But honestly, did not expect to win this one. This is probably my least favorite track out there, so just happy to walk away with a win. Don't really know what to say. Didn't expect to be getting an interview today.
Well, you got one, and you're going to be the first multi-time winner. Top seed for the area playoffs, James. Congratulations and a strong night.
Thanks, guys. I want to say a big shout-out as well to No Kid Hungry. We're doing a little charity sponsorship here for the next couple races. We've already raised over $300 for that, so if you guys want to donate, check all the socials for the donation link. All donations are appreciated. And then big shout out to Roasted Gems Coffee, Abruzzi, and Simrap Market, and then Lucky Ducks. Glad to get them their second win of the season, and hopefully we can carry the momentum into the next weeks.
James Scioli, the number 7 No Kid Hungry Chevrolet, wins at Pocono. James, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, wrapping things up here from Pocono. Disappointing end to what was shaping up to be a pretty entertaining race, but yellow after yellow. James Scioli in the orange is the one that takes victory. Finian, final thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say, it really was unfortunate because that was shaping to be a really good battle between those two. Clearly, the two front runners we've seen all throughout the night, it was Jake Nichols and James Scioli, and got to battle it out a little bit, and I'm sure that Nichols was dying to have at least one last shot, one last decent shot to get back at James Scioli at the end there.
Hunter Sleppy, final thoughts here from Pocono.
He is muted.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was muted, but yeah. It was a doozy of a race. They don't call it the tricky triangle, the trippy triangle for no reason. James Skylerly, the victor in all this, and a bunch of wrecked race cars, but going to put that in the past, at least for the Cup side of things. And Kyle, I feel like tomorrow night for the Truck Series, they're going to Martinsville, so we might see some more of the same aggression, carnage, and even tempers flaring, because short tracks equal short tempers.
Well, this is not what you want to see coming out of a nice long break, Hunter, our home racetrack, and it didn't produce the greatest race we were hoping for. But James Scioli proving that he is a force to be reckoned with here in the Cup Series and win number 2 on the season. And as Kyle said, now currently the top seed for the playoffs. Looking forward, he's sitting pretty with just 4 races in the regular season remaining. Kyle, we head to Atlanta next week in the Cup Series. Tomorrow night, Trucks take on Martinsville.
Oh boy, Martinsville tomorrow night. We'll see you there. Thanks so much for joining us here from the Area Cup Series. We'll see you tomorrow for Martinsville, Thursday for more Pocono, Atlanta next week for the Area Cup Series. We'll see you there.